Yo, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? We are back. It's been a minute, guys. I know y'all missed us, but we're here, the RPO College Football Podcast special. Because guess what this week is? It's the NFL draft. And I know you guys are excited. I'm excited. My boys are excited. I'm excited to see my boys. I'm going to introduce my boys because it's been a minute. I know you haven't seen some of these faces. I'm gonna introduce myself first. I'm Jerome. If you don't know who I am, I'm Jerome, CEO of Inside the Hashes. We have some great stuff going on. Make sure you check us out. Also, that QR code right there in the back of me. Make sure to scan that to find all our socials. But I'm gonna go around right now because we got our guy, my boy Sam, all the way coming to us from Arizona. How you doing, my boy?
It's good to be back, guys. Usually doing a lot of coverage around the draft here, and wanted to make sure I could hop on this mock draft. But yeah, currently the sports anchor out here in Arizona covering, college, high school, and professional sports. And again, this is my favorite part of the week. Just kind of like you guys feel as well. So I'm excited to get this mock draft going. Excited to see you guys too, and I know we have a lot to discuss, so let's get this thing going. Chris, great to see you too, as well as Ray. Excited to mock it up right now.
Yeah, my boy Sam doing some big things in Arizona. Make sure you check in with him and all his socials. We'll get your socials at the end of the pod as well. But let's talk to my boy all the way from Philly, my other Eagles fan right there. Let's get it. Oh, he also an Ohio State fan. I'll throw that out there. Even though I'm a Michigan fan, I'll throw out the fact that you're an Ohio State fan. So you had a good year. I'll give you your flowers. My boy Chris Thomas right down there. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. And by the way, Jerome, that is national champions.
Oh,
The
God,
Ohio
see?
State.
All right, I give you that. I give you that. I give you that. How you doing, man? What you been up to?
Oh, dude, I've been great. It's
Obviously.
slowly starting to warm up here in Philly. Just been working on a radio show. I was supposed to be in Green Bay this week for the NFL draft, but you know the way my money works, I wasn't able to go. But alas, next time. But I'm super excited. I've been looking at my drafts on the fact that I finally get to do one again with you guys. I think I did one 2 years ago with you. Like that was the Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Now me and Ray got a little back and forth with that as well. So yeah, I'm excited.
Definitely, man. Definitely, man. Hey, do you slow down? You were just at the Super Bowl. Now you're trying to be at the draft. Like, man, you don't slow down, do you?
Uh-uh. Yeah, no. And I'm trying to go to the Super Bowl next year. That's in California. So
Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's do it.
yeah.
Might see
All
you
right,
there.
man. Hey, I'm gonna try to be out there too. We might have a little reunion out there. Let's do it. Hey, and then last but not least, the man, the myth, the legend. You can't see his face right now. He looks totally different, by the way. He got the grizzle going on. He got the old man grizzle. My man, the man, the myth, the legend. You already know who he is. Ray. How you doing?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you, buddy? It's been a while, so.
I'm good. It'd be nice to see your face right now. I don't know what's going
For
on.
some reason, my screen blanked out on me. I don't know why.
All right, we're gonna work with it right now. We can hear you at least. We can definitely hear you, but right now. But man, we got a long podcast right now. We're gonna be doing this 4-man draft right now. We're all gonna go in order of how it was randomized. Everybody got their own team except for myself. I'm an Eagles fan. I was nice enough to give it to my man Chris. He had a good year. I give it to him, so he could have the Eagles this year. Just don't disappoint me. But we all randomize every 4 picks. It's randomized between the 4 of us. So we're gonna start off with the number 1 overall pick, who is Chris Thomas. He has the Tennessee Titans, and you are on the clock, sir.
You guys there?
Yes, sir. You're here. Chris is Mike.
All right.
There you go.
All right. Tennessee is interesting. They had the second best defense in the NFL last year. Number 1 was Philadelphia Eagles. I actually like their offensive potential. I think their two-headed running back, if under better circumstances, would work a lot well. But that being said, there is a glaring hole on that offense, and it's the quarterback. Will Levis is not it, unfortunately. Therefore, with the number 1 overall pick, the Tennessee Titans select Will. I'm kidding. Select Cam from University of Miami.
Don't do that to me, man. Listen, before I let you explain your pick, I said
So there?
Oh, yes, sir. You hear? Okay, I'm not sure if you hear us, but before we got on, I said this: do not pick a guy that's not. I've done these graphics I've done all by myself, and every year I'm missing like 2 or 3 players because somebody drafted somebody out of the first round. I got like 60 picks in here, so if I miss somebody, that's y'all just reaching at that point. But Will Hire is definitely not in these graphics. I will say that. But go ahead, Chris. Explain your pick, man.
Oh, the number 1 quarterback he's the number 1 quarterback, I think, on everyone's board. The Titans literally have a glaring quarterback hole. Like I said, you have a really good running back duo in Tajik Spears, and I am really blanking on Tony Pollard. Thank you. And Calvin really had 1,000 yards last year. Like, I think a lot of people forget about that because a lot of people really don't watch Tennessee Titans games. Westbrook Akine is a really good deep threats. Their offensive line still needs a lot of work, but overall, they need a quarterback that's going to come in and, take command. And like I said, like Will Levis was an absolute turnover machine. I don't think there's any real legitimate future or real shot for him to really be that quarterback of the future. But Cam Ward, he was good at Washington State. He went over to the University of Miami. A lot of things happened over there as well. And more importantly, the AFC South is the worst division in football. So he has an opportunity. If he can stabilize that quarterback position, and I'm just saying, if he gets at least like 25 touchdowns, they can compete for the AFC title like right off the gate if everything goes well. Because the only real threat that they have is the Houston Texans. And with everything that's going on with Houston, with the offensive line, that's a really attainable division right now if Cam Ward's able to come in and set up shop.
100%. I don't want us to linger on this too much because I think most of us expect this pick. Anybody have anything else that like y'all would like the Tennessee Titans to do instead of this pick? Like, would there be any, discretions on what you think they should do with this pick?
If it were me, I probably would take a defensive player here, but that's just me.
Okay, who would you pick, right? If it was you?
I would take Abdul Carter.
Okay.
I think that Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter are the best players in college football this year, so I would take one of them.
Definitely. Well, Ray, you are currently on the clock with the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if you was foreseeing your pick here, but you are on the clock. You got the number 2 overall pick, and I think this is a very intriguing pick right here. I don't think it's a back-breaking pick, but it's very intriguing because the Browns can go a couple of different ways. You got a lot of options, but Ray, you are the Cleveland Browns. Who are you taking right here?
I'm taking Travis Hunter. I think he's the best defensive back in college football this year. He could actually do some things for me on my offense, and I'm going to take Travis Hunter.
All right. So, Ray, right off the bat, I'm going to kind of ask you this question because the Cleveland Browns have 2 really good corners right now, and they also have a really good slot guy in Emerson. So, where are you? First of all, what are you doing with Travis? What's his primary position? That's one. And then 2, how would you get him on the field, even if you do want him at primary defense? Where would you put him on the field? Because you got 3 really good corners actually right at the moment.
I'm going to move one of the other corners, hopefully in the draft, and I'm going to play Travis Hunter.
Just play him everywhere.
I'm going to play him. I think that he's too talented of a football player. I mean, there are some issues with his maybe being a little bit dedicated to not football sometimes, but I think he's a talented player. I'm going to get him on the field somehow. Again, he can help me on my offense too, so I think that he's just too talented not to take here.
All right. Guys, what y'all think about this pick? Start with Sam.
Oh yeah, sorry. I agree with Ray's pick here. I think honestly, Hunter's the best fit for Cleveland in ways that aren't just personnel. For me, this team doesn't really have much fun or reasons for fans to get excited on this roster, and I think Travis Hunter immediately gives them, you know, this isn't something that they're looking at to better the roster, but for fans to show up, jersey sales. Like this is going to really help the Browns start to create identity and develop more talent. You need to collect more talent, and obviously they could take Abdul Carter here, but instead I think they get a guy that can help their offense and their defense. And I think they're a franchise. Me and Jerome were talking about this earlier. That's willing to step out on a line and kind of play him a little more than other teams that are a little more conservative would. So I think this is a match. We kind of made it in heaven. Their GM compared him to Shohei Ohtani a couple days ago. I think that's all you need to know. I think this is number 2 pick.
Chris.
I love Travis Hunter, the talent. The versatility in terms of what he can do week 1 on the NFL field is absolutely warrants the number 2 overall selection. My thing is that on the offensive side of the ball, who's going to give him the ball? Deshaun Watson's probably going to miss this year. And then your options is either Kenny Pickett or a 41-year-old Joe Flacco.
Well, maybe that's where what Ray said comes back. You have that surplus at corner. You use some of that to maybe even jump back into round 1 somewhere. Or, Chris, I think at that top of the second round, there's going to be one of those guys that they're a little shaky on. And I think if you put a Jalen Miller in Cleveland, or you put a Jackson Dart, I think that's the better fit. I think he's played more college football. I think he's a better quarterback, and he's going to be able to succeed more immediately. But I do think this is a very possible scenario for both the Browns and we'll get to the Giants after this, but to trade back into the first. I have a feeling that somebody may be doing that, especially if Sanders is falling.
Yeah, I think what Sam just said is exactly right. You use one of your other corners, you trade them, and maybe a later pick and move back into maybe the end of this first round because the corners are good. But Travis Hunter adds juice to a roster that needs juice, man. So.
Yeah. And Travis Hunter would easily walk in and be the second best wide receiver like on that team. That being said, if you have a surplus at corners, like the Browns, I would draft. If I was the Browns, I would have drafted Carter because nobody gets double teamed more in the NFL in pass rushing than Myles Garrett. So that would give Carter week 1 legitimate one-on-one opportunities on the edge to go after the quarterback as well. And when you're in a division in which you have potentially Aaron Rodgers whenever he makes his decision up, Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, you're going to need somebody to chase them.
100%. Yeah, I like you guys' idea with that. I was just thinking Abdul Carter right here and pairing him up with Myles Garrett. That's crazy. Then you got outside of Cam Ward, you got your pick at quarterback too. I know you're trying to figure out something with Deshaun Watson with that huge contract, but they made it clear that he's not the guy, So that's kind of what I was thinking with this one, and but I definitely hear what Chris saying with being able to get fans excited. Cleveland fans need some kind of excitement right now. That would definitely be a good pick. Speaking of Sam, you are on the clock with your New York Giants. Before you make your pick, did you predict how the draft was going to go so far?
Yeah, I think we're hitting the nail on the head here with what we've been told and what we've been seeing pre-draft. And to me, these 3 picks is kind of what we know. And then after that, I think that's when things could really shake up and jump around a little bit. There's a lot of younger teams and newer coaches that are picking. So I think this is kind of where we know what's going to happen after this. And I have the Giants with the number 3 overall pick taking Abdul Carter out of Penn State. Kind of hinted on that earlier. Chris, as an Ohio State fan, I've watched Penn State, Ohio State games the last 3-4 years, and not one of those times did I think we had the best player maybe on the field besides Micah Parsons. And I think this year we did with Abdul Carter. This guy is a very special talent. And considering the fact he only played 1 year on the edge this far, like has experience at middle. This guy, you could put him anywhere. And again, this is a very similar situation to what the Browns are in, where the Giants don't have a lot of strengths on the roster, and maybe one of them probably is their pass rush already. You have Kayvon, you have Brian Burns, so some people are probably like, why is this the route that they're choosing? One, maybe they want to move on from Kayvon Thibodeau. This is a guy that was picked in the top 5. This is a guy that we talked about as a game-changing player, and for me, I haven't seen that, and I think you guys, as Eagles fans too, don't fear him either. And if you have a guy like this, I think on Sunday, Jalen Hurts and Lane Johnson are looking over their shoulder a little bit more when you have Abdul Carter there on the edge, huffing and puffing. And then that's going to open up things for Brian Burns. I think that's really big for Burns to kind of get a little bit more freedom and open things up for him. And he didn't have a great year last year either. So I think this is the right move for the Giants here. And I think you guys agree with me too as well.
Real quick, is this Thibodeau's last year on his contract?
Exactly. He's not signed nor guaranteed into next year, and if he has a 6-7 sack year, I don't think the Giants are going to be willing to give him that money that he's going to command, and rightfully so, especially if you have an Abdul Carter and Brian Burns already. They added Chauncey Golston in free agency too from Dallas, who was more of a depth piece, but this is a deep draft too. I think the specialty of this draft is more on these defensive players. Like, it's not quarterback and wide, like it's more about these, trenches guys. So
yeah,
I do think this is an exciting pick for the Giants, and I think their defense has the potential to be pretty darn good next year. Actually,
what you think, Ray?
I mean, I love the player. I love the pick. I do think that Abdul Carter may be a little bit of a better player than Travis Hunter was. I just think that I needed someone with a little bit more juice in Cleveland. I think that the Giants get the perfect guy to help their roster. So I think it worked out good for everybody. The Giants are, man, they're in never land right now as far as drafting players, man. You just never know what they're thinking from week to week sometimes, it seems like. So, and that's coming from a Dolphins fan who feels the same way about his team. So,
Yeah. What do you think, Chris?
This is why I wanted Abdul Carter to go number 2.
I agree.
The prospect of Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Kayvon Thibodeau, all in that front 7. I know the Eagles' offensive line is one of the best in the league, but the fact that the Giants are able to, reload with the amount of depth that they have, and Carter is a game changer. Shane, the new Giants defensive coordinator, he was the defensive coordinator over in Tennessee, and Tennessee had fielded some pretty good defenses there as well. So that is that's scary. I'll say that. I feel like when we're watching games on Sunday, the defense is not going to be the reason why they lose games, because in the end, you win in the trenches. You win by tackling. You win by getting after the quarterback. You rushing the quarterback's timing and anticipation. And when you're in a division, kind of similar situation where you are with Cleveland. That's why I also wanted them to get Carter, is that you got Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, and Jalen Daniels. You're going to need somebody, a lot of bodies, and a bunch of athletic bodies to go after the quarterback.
Definitely. Hey, Chris, two-part question. One is, we talked about this off camera when I said that Abdul Carter is a known Eagles fan. So I want to know how, as a Giants fan, how do y'all feel about him being a known Eagles fan? That's one. And then two, let's say Abdul Carter does want to go to the Cleveland Browns. Would you like Travis Hunter to go to the Giants?
Yeah, I think these two players are kind of interchangeable, whether the Browns favor Carter or whether the Giants favor Hunter. And one of my ideas, honestly, when I thought the Browns were leaning towards Carter was you take Travis, right, at 3, and then you trade back in if Shedeur falls, and you just pair them up then. You bring them both to New York City. Next thing you know, you got a full Giant stadium again. You get some hope. It's the biggest stretch of all time, but at that
I'm not hearing Sam. Are you guys hearing him? Because I don't hear him.
Yeah, I hear him.
Okay, I don't hear him. Okay.
at that same time, it just I think Dable and Shane are kind of hands tied here. They need a all-pro caliber player, and that's Carter here. So I don't know.
That situation you just said is kind of funny. That'll be definitely kind of funny, but we'll definitely see.
But yeah, in the end, we know like in the next 4 years, Carter's going to come to Philly anyway. So,
but my thought process behind that theory is even deeper. Is when you just add those guys. Say we go 6-11 this year. You can Dable, you lure Dion. And next thing you know, people want to be a Giant again. You know, that's the plan. That's the only way you'd get them. You have both of them.
Hey Sam, you sound like the HBO TV show last year. Oh man. But yeah, all right. So before I go to my picks with the New England Patriots, I do want to say thanks to all the 28 people that are watching us right now. I'm sorry, 38. I miscounted. 38 people that's watching us live right now. We appreciate that. Make sure you like and subscribe and repost this so we can get more eyes on this as well. Also, we do have a chat room in here as well. So if you have anything you want to talk about, or you like more picks, you don't like our picks, you want to add into the fun, definitely put your comments in the comment section as well, and then we will pop it on the screen and answer it as well. So thank you guys so much for being in here. We appreciate y'all. Let's get to the next pick, which is my pick, and I got the New England Patriots. In this draft, we're not doing trades, but I think this would be a perfect time to trade back because somebody might want that Shedeur Sanders pick right here. This might be a good spot to grab him, depending on who it is and how far you're on down. I mean, we got the Jets coming up, we got the Raiders coming up, we got the Saints coming up. All those teams pretty much going to probably want a quarterback. Obviously, I'm not going to do that here. The Patriots have their quarterback. He looked pretty good last year. For me, I'm always hey, we got our guy. Let's protect our guy. So I'm going to do the real obvious pick right here, and I'm going to go Will Campbell right here. I think it'll be a great pick for that offensive line. Protect. I was just about to say Matt Jones. Oh, my goodness. What's the other quarterback name?
Drake May.
Drake May. Thank you. I'm about to piss some Patriot fans off. Protect Drake May. Help him develop. Give him some more time back there. Make him look good. I know they could probably use some receivers here. They could probably use some a couple of defenders. But I think if you protect that quarterback, you might have a franchise guy. Buy him some more time. Allow him to feel, protected and make him feel good, so he have confidence to throw. I think you're gonna have a guy that's gonna be pretty good out there. So I'm gonna start with Ray on this one. Being the Dolphins fan in here, how do you feel about this pick?
I think it's a good pick, man. I think again you got to protect the quarterback, and my number one problem with Miami is I don't think they understand the trench play is how you win football games. Period. I don't care what anyone says. If you look at the difference between, I know the Eagles addressed their defensive backfield last year, and that's why they really improved their play in the back end of their defense. But they win in the trenches every week, man, and that's how you win football games. It's just that simple.
Agreed. Sam?
Got to protect your high draft picks. Got to protect what you put your money in, right? And Drake May is one of those guys that we think is going to be, again, one of these premier quarterbacks down the stretch or in these next couple of years. So I think this is a good pick. Someone to grow with them. I think when you're bringing in young quarterbacks and you have young, capable offensive linemen that kind of match up in a year sense, it's a good thing to kind of establish, a little cohesion in that offensive line and that offensive unit.
Chris? I watched my fair share of Patriot games last year. Drake May's legit. But I think out of all the rookie quarterbacks, he probably had the worst supporting cast out of all the rookies that I've seen last year. And he was still able to make amazing throws. So getting him out, getting him a perfect bookend, getting him a blindside protector is exactly what the Patriots need. He's your franchise quarterback. He was their third overall pick. Invest in the offensive line and try to keep him upright.
And Jerome, I think part of the reason why you went O-line so quickly is that there's no real receiver that stands out to you at this point in the draft, right? So I think if you're New England, you're so high up in that second round that there's going to be some value there if you like a receiver. And let's be real, the track record of this team in drafting receivers isn't great. So let's not waste the 4th overall pick, right? Let's get a solid, capable O-lineman whose floor is going to be a capable NFL starter, right?
There you go. Yeah, and you're right. They're gonna be high in that draft. I think actually that point of the draft is gonna be real sweet spot for some good receivers in that spot. That like I'm not even gonna say late first round because it's probably like maybe 1 or 2 that I will pick in the first round after this. But especially that early second, mid second, and then you got a couple in the 4th round that you can grab. I think they're in a really good spot if they want to grab one in the 2nd round. So that was a good observation right there, Sam. All right. So for our next pick, that will be the man, Chris, with the Jaguars. Who you taking at number 5, sir?
I feel like the first 4 picks were kind of routine. So, like, the Jaguars have a lot of needs, particularly on both sides of the offensive and defensive line. Because I trust the depth a little bit more on the defensive side of the ball, especially on the defensive line, I'm going to go offensive lineman here. Armand Naboo from Missouri.
Whoa. Okay. I see where we're going with here. Let me see. I know I got him though. There he is. Oh, not that one. There you go. Wrong A name. Yeah, man. Wow. I wouldn't expect him to go this early. I'm not gonna lie. But I think it's a good player. Let's start with Ray. He's the offensive line guy. What do you think about this?
I like him as a player. I mean, again, I agree with Chris. You build in the trenches, man. It's a little earlier than I would have taken him, but again, he is the next offensive lineman I have on my board too. So it's all good.
Definitely. Sam, what you think?
I think it's interesting. I think this is another trade spot, right? I think they're in a position where younger coaches, they need more picks probably, and I think this is a spot where someone might make a call, trying to get aggressive and maybe take a running back or take somebody like along those lines. I don't want to hint at what might be doing next pick, but I think there's potential there for some trade up. And if I was Jacksonville, I would definitely consider that. They need more talent. I don't think anyone really stands out to me here. I would trade back if I could, but I do like this guy, Chris, and I think they need help up front immediately. So it doesn't.
Because we're not trading back, that's the ultimate reason why I made this pick. Because you have a new offense, you have a new head coach, Liam Cohen, coming from Tampa Bay. Trevor Lawrence got absolutely beat up last year to the point where he had to miss the last several amount of games, and you're forced to play Mac Jones. And Jaguars' offensive line wasn't really that strong to begin with, so you need to really start building an offensive line, especially if Trevor Lawrence is going to continue to be your franchise quarterback.
Number one priority is to protect your quarterback, man. Protect your quarterback, without a doubt.
100%. Do we still trust in Trevor Lawrence?
I trust him, as I think he's a talented player. I think he kind of tries to take too much on himself, and they need to help him with that.
Again, I think it goes back to kind of what Chris was saying. Him getting knocked around, beat up so much, that doesn't just affect you physically, it affects you mentally. And, he hasn't had, I guess, the greatest surplus of weapons. And, I thought it was weird they let go of Evan Ingram. And I think that kind of opens up potential for maybe Tyler Warren going in this spot. I think that'd be a potential name to kind of circle there. This is a Liam Cohen-led team now. He's an offensive guy. He's going to want to get offensive playmakers in immediately to kind of help this team and help give some more freedom to Brian Thomas. But I'll move along here and go with our Las Vegas pick here at 6. Pete Carroll coming back into coaching. Very interesting, right, guys? I mean, how are we feeling about that, first of all? I wasn't expecting it, and I think
It
it's
was
more of
out
a.
of left field. It was out of left field.
I think it's
It
more
came
of
out
a
nowhere.
more position for him to kind of build what Brady and that ownership kind of want there long term, if that makes sense. And
Yeah, I think that was definitely a Brady pick. I don't think he would be there if Brady was not partial owner.
And when we're looking at these things, I think the best Pete Carroll's been is when he's had, a running game to go along with what Gino's going to be providing there in the passing game. So I'm going to take a guy who actually kind of plays regionally too as well, Ashton Genty here with the 6th overall pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, this is a team that just added another rookie offensively last year in Brock Bowers. You bring this guy in, it's immediately a spot a quarterback wants to play in. Anyone becomes available next offseason, it's going to be a position where a lot of people are looking. Las Vegas, the ownership's heading in the right direction. You bring a guy like this in, Gino, that offense with a run game, they can compete. You win 7-8 games, you start to build a real culture there, and I think this is a pick that kind of puts them in the right direction.
Ooh. All right, I'm gonna let Chris start on this one.
I don't hate it. I thought it was a really good pick. The Raiders need playmakers, especially with now Pete Carroll and now Chip Kelly being offensive players. Genty is a legitimate workhorse. You need somebody else to, kind of take that little pressure off Brock Bowers. I'm still not really in love of who they really have at the quarterback position. Maybe that could be addressed later, maybe in the second round. Honestly, this is a prime Shedeur Sanders spot as well. But Genty and the season that he had in Boise State was absolutely amazing. And more importantly, I need people to really understand that Penn State game that he had, the game he had against Penn State, was an outlier. It's not what you're going to expect from him.
And the guy who stopped him was already picked, so maybe that's the reason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think this is a good spot for the Raiders to kind of bring some mojo and some juice back into this team. And I think Carroll going with Gino, you kind of know that they're going to add a running back, whether it's first or second round. I would think very highly if the Raiders are going to be taking a running back very high.
What do you think, Ray?
I love Genty. I mean, anytime you take a running back in the top 10 is always a little too rich for me. But I think it's a good pick. I understand you need to protect the quarterback, and a good run game will also help protect the quarterback. So as much as I think it's a little bit too rich for him here, I get the pick. I do.
All right. Yeah. For me, I think that I like the pick and I hate the pick. I like the pick because he's not falling down to the Cowboys. I don't want the Cowboys game. But I do like it for the Raiders. I just think that for me as a Raider, if I'm a Raiders fan, looking at the quarterback situation of the last couple of years, do I really trust Gino to just come in and work? Yes, he was with Pete Carroll when he had his most successful years, but he's getting older in age now. He didn't look particularly good last year. Even the year before that, he kind of fizzled out a little bit toward the end of the year, and it carried into last year. So I'm a little concerned with that as a Raiders fan, but Genty would definitely give you a lot of hope. And a lot of people talk about his speed and this and that. Stop. Let's watch the tape, man. I gotta stop with the speed stuff. Watch the tape. Just watch the tape. He's a good player. He's a really good player. I predicted him to be the best running back this year in our RPO podcast early in the season. I don't know if you remember that, Ray, but he was better than I thought he was going to be even this year. So he's going to be a player for sure. He's going to definitely help a Geno Smith out. I would, if I was a Raiders fan, I would definitely try to at least get a quarterback in the second or third round if you're going to do this route, though, just to have some kind of presence behind Geno, just in case. Because also the other thing is Geno was starting to get a little injured too. If you haven't really noticed that, he was getting a little injured. So I want to have that contingency plan just in case. So, but yeah, not a bad pick at all. Not a bad pick at all. I like it.
I just have a feeling someone's going to reach on him. That's kind of my gut instinct with where this draft's heading. And whether it's them at 6, like we said, we can't make trades here. I have a feeling someone's going to get running back happy and want to take him that high. So don't be surprised if you do see him go 6 to 10, right, Jerome? Like that's totally in the ballpark, definitely.
100%.
Honestly, I had him going number 10 overall to Chicago.
There you go.
To me, he's easily a top 10 player, if not a top 5 player in the draft. So I get the talent. It's the position more of not always being crazy about taking him too early. But the good thing about it is you have him for 5 years now, and you don't have to worry about it,
100%. 100%. All right, we got
And
51
also
people in here.
one last thing. I think also with what you saw what Jahmyr Gibbs did at the number 12 overall pick, what you saw in free agency with Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, the running back renaissance is slowly coming back. And I think now running backs are going to be a lot more a necessity than a luxury. Because remember, a few years ago, like the whole campaign started in regards to running backs matter. And Saquon Barkley now proved that running backs matter, that the trenches matter. So I feel like now a lot more teams are going to be a lot more coded into fortifying their offensive line and getting workhorse running backs, kind of how the game was back in the early 2000s.
100%. No, 100%. You know how to mess with you, Sam. I'm sorry. But yeah, man, listen, we got 52 people in the chat right now. We do appreciate everybody that's watching. Again, if you are watching, you can put your comments and everything in here as you're watching us do our mock draft and let us know how we're doing. We really do appreciate it. And if you are on X or anything, please retweet this so it can go out and more eyes can see this. So we do appreciate y'all. I have the New York Jets. Sorry, I had Giants on my mind. Jets. Yeah, I have the New York Jets, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't like this pick. But the more I keep, like, as you guys was talking, and I'm looking at, how the board's falling. I'm looking at, what the Jets have on their roster. I will pull this trigger right now, and I would do Shedeur Sanders. I'm gonna do that. And the reason why is how much do we trust Justin Fields right now? He looked good last year. He looked decent with the Chris is laughing, but he looked good, But how much do we trust that right now? So George Sanders might put a little fire on the Jets. People might start watching the Jets again, kind of like we talked about with Travis Hunter. You get butts in the seats with him. And Justin Fields is only on a 1-year deal, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 2-year deal. So you can easily move him if he is on a 1 or 2-year deal. He on a prove-it deal. You got somebody in there that kind of be a bridge gap for Shedeur. You don't have to rush Shedeur in right away. I think it would be a good idea to do that. And hopefully you can build something around him. I'm going to start with Chris, since you had the little giggles over there. What do you think about this pick?
Jerome, congratulations. You won the Michael Penix Award for this year's draft.
Thank you.
This is shocking. I'm going to say this. I like Shedeur. I do not like him for the Jets. Simply because Aaron Glenn's now over there, defensive guy. Mason Graham is an absolute perfect fit in regards to their 4-3 defense. You have Tyler Warren, who is absolutely perfect, because if you're going to roll out Justin Fields for at least the next 2 years, give him a fighting chance and give him as much accommodating weapons as you could possibly can. With Shedeur, the reality is that Justin Fields is never going to get comfortable. And obviously, the media spotlight's always going to be on him. It's like you're always going to be a thing where it's like looking over your shoulder. I'm just not in the business of, and remember, Justin Fields is still about 26, 27 years old. I'm not in the business of making my young quarterback uncomfortable. And I feel like if Shedeur goes to New York, which is the media market of the world, neither one of those guys is going to be really comfortable until one of them goes out.
I hear you. And I like the fact that you said it's the Michael Penix of this draft, because he was all mad about that last year, but look how that turned out. It turned out to be the good decision. So you never know. Listen, when's the last time the Jets had a good quarterback? They had Aaron Rodgers, that didn't pan out. Outside of that, when's the last time they had a good quarterback? And I'm not saying Shedeur is world-beating quarterback, but you gotta have some. You can't just go in there with just Justin Fields. I'm so sorry. You can't just do that. You just can't. I'm so sorry. You just can't. Ray, I'm gonna let you go. What you think?
I like the Tiz as a prospect. I agree with Chris in a way that I maybe would have taken Mason Graham here. I think he would have been a nice fit for their team. And the other problem is, what's he going to learn from watching Justin Field play? Not how not to read a defense.
That was good, Ray. That was good. That was good. That was good. That was good. What do you think, Sam? Oh man, Ray, you should be happy Shedeur is gonna be in your division then.
I'm happy as shit. No lie.
Go ahead, Sam.
I think this is an interesting move for the Jets, and I think it's a potential possibility. But I also think that locker room and that front office values Tyrod more than you're considering him as a backup or a plan B to Justin Fields, especially for 1 year. Believe me, we had him. I wasn't happy with it, but I also know that they're going to be okay with him starting 5 games if things go real south, which things would have to go really south for Justin Fields to get benched at this point after getting the money that he did. But yeah, I think the Jets team is excited to play for Fields, so this move would be kind of countering that. But at the same time, I wouldn't bet on Fields at this point either, and this gives Shedeur some time to grow and kind of watch. So I do think the fit is more there than people would think.
Thank you, Sam. You're okay as a Giants fan. You're okay. I do agree with Chris though. I do think this is one of those kind of picks that people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, you could have got Mason Graham with," but I just can't. If there was a good backup to Justin Fields, I wouldn't even think about this. It would be Mason Graham all day. But I just can't. Tyrod is not. I can't do the Tyrod thing. I'm sorry. I just can't be like I'm pitting Tyrod. Justin Fields bad, pitting Tyrod because in a sense it's probably about the same. Let's be real. It's about the same. So
the other problem with Tyrod Taylor is you don't know if it's going to happen the 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th week, but he's going to miss some games because he always does.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get injured. Yep. So, all right. Well, we got our first controversial kind of pick right there. Let's get into the next one. Ray, you are on the clock. I know you've been away for a little bit, but you here, man. You got your Carolina Panthers right here. Who are you taking for Carolina Panthers?
You know what? I'm gonna take Mason Graham. I think again he kind of fits what they need. Interior defensive lineman. He can help them, and I love Mason Graham, so I'll take Mason Graham right here.
There you go, Mason Graham. Michigan man, let's go. What you guys think? Let's go with Chris first.
Oh, love the pick. Carolina had a few years ago a treasure trove of like really young potential good defensive players. That's not really the case anymore. You also really have a giant question mark at Derek Brown health wise. So I think the addition of Mason Graham kind of alleviates a lot of terms of like what Mason Graham has, but what Brown has to do on the defensive side of the ball. And Graham is an absolute run stuffer. He's in a division with hosts Alvin Kamara, Bijan Robinson, and Bucky Irving and Rashard White. So fortifying that front to neutralize the running game is absolutely essential. No problems with the pick.
Sam?
Yeah, I mean, best player available. This team is still young, growing. I think it's a safe pick. I'm interested to see kind of what you think in terms of this fitting in with that interior D line? I know they have Derek Brown already. Is that how similar are these two players? And do you think both of them can kind of fit in that same defense?
I do.
Honestly, I think that.
do.
God,
No, I was
yeah,
gonna say Mason Brown's a lot more athletic than Derek Brown. Derek Brown's more of a big body, strong arm kind of guy that's gonna plug up the hole. Where you got Mason Brown, who's a little bit more athletic and can get to the quarterback a little bit faster. So I think it'd be a good complement to each other. Both of them can stop the run. Don't get me wrong on that. But Mason Brown is more of the pass rusher than a Derek Brown. So you have that kind of yin and yang going inside. So I think that'd be cool.
I just think like with a division where they're going to run the ball a decent amount. You have Derek Brown and Mason Graham playing in the inside. Dude, you're going to have a hard time finding holes through that defensive line now to run through.
Correct. And I think Shaq Thompson's still there too as a linebacker. So
he
free
is.
up him. He's a flowing linebacker. So you can clog up the holes in the beginning and then allow him to just flow in and hit the running backs. It's gonna be harder to run.
And you gotta add players to that defense. You just have to.
Correct. I agree. All right. Good pick, Ray. Let's get to our next pick, which is number 9. That is the Saints. That is Chris. Who you got for the Saints, sir?
Well, I gotta thank Jerome because he literally sniped me with Shedeur Sanders. I would have had Shedeur Sanders here.
I meant to say that too. That's another reason I picked him because he's not gonna go past the Saints at that point. But go ahead.
Yeah. So this requires me to really go ahead and think. The Saints are also another team in which you can't really go by really need at this point. You have to go by best player available. You really need a lot of help on nearly every single side of the ball. But I feel like at this point, the best player that I could possibly take right now is Will Johnson from Michigan.
Ooh, back-to-back Michigan guys. Okay. All right. I'm going to go first. I like the pick because you have, like you said, you got to pick the best player. I don't know why Will Johnson's name is not being talked about enough in this draft. His name been kind of slipping in mock draft for some reason. I know he's been injured, but it's not like a serious injury. He got a hamstring. He'll take the offseason to kind of, relax a little bit, let that hamstring, fully heal. He did do his pro day. A lot of people was talking about how his pro day wasn't that great because, he didn't even do the Michigan's pro day. He did his own individual workout because he was still healing. And I still think he was kind of hurt doing that, and it kind of reflected on some of his numbers and how he looked, but he still looked really good. He's actually being trained by my guy OD down here in Georgia, one of the best defensive trainers out there. So he's doing his thing with him. Will Johnson is going to be a guy that he's going to be your Lattimore. He's going to be your Lattimore. He's going to shut down one side. Nobody's going to want to really throw to his side. Very physical, very fast, very smart. Very good at, high pointing the ball, staying on the player's hips. I mean, when Ohio State had Maserati, he was playing them really well, and he was a sophomore when he was playing them. So he's a baller. Dad played DB as well. His dad's a coach and been coaching him since he's been going up. I'm a big Will Johnson fan. Obviously, Michigan guy, so it's a bias to it too. But I'm a huge fan of him. What do you think, Chris? Sorry, Sam.
Oh.
Go ahead, Chris. If you have something to say, you can go real quick.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna make it because you pretty much said everything. With them trading Marshawn Lattimore, there's now like a complete gaping hole in their secondary, particularly in the starting corner spot. And I don't think Alontae Taylor, and you don't want to go in the season with Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry as your starting corner. So,
well, they got real quick. They got Paul Adobo as well.
We have him now.
Huh?
We have him now.
Oh, the Giants. Oh, okay, then I forgot. Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say that. Yeah, the Giants signed Paulson Adebo, so I think fit-wise, this is a good good selection for Will Johnson to be here. They kind of trusted in Debo before he got injured last year with that cornerback one role, and I think he was actually playing pretty decently. Even no bias there. I think his stats are pretty decent. I think honestly, I thought they were going to kind of try to sign him long term, and this is a good plan B for them to pair him up with Kool-Aid. I think that'll be a good secondary. And when you think about these good Saints teams, think about the defense first. That's kind of how it is for me.
Right.
I mean, I love Will Johnson. He's a nice physical corner. I maybe would have gone John A. Barron from Texas before him, though. But, I mean, either way, you're going to get a good football player, so it was fine.
Okay. I don't agree with that, but okay.
Hey, but I'm not a Michigan fan, and you are, so.
I'll give you that. I'll definitely give you that. Speaking of Ray, you are on the clock right now, Ray. You have the Chicago Bears. Who are you taking there, sir?
I had the Chicago Bears. You know what? I'm going to go Tyler Warren from Penn State. I'm going to go tight end and give me a playmaker on offense.
Wow. I like it. What's your mindset on that one, Ray?
A guy who gets open quickly, get the ball out of the quarterback's hands, do him a favor. Offensive line is okay. Needs some work, but it's solid. Again, I could have went either him or Loveland from Michigan. I think a tight end is a young quarterback's best friend, especially if he gets open quickly.
100%. I'm gonna let Sam start on this one, being the Penn State guy. What do you think about this one, Ray?
Yeah. It's hard to describe his game, man. He's just a baller when it comes down to it. And he wasn't even, if you guys know his backstory, he wasn't even like a football recruit. He's a basketball guy. And
imagine if he had a quarterback that could actually play.
Yeah.
You know?
Sheesh. It's going to be number one pick next year, but yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no. That's what Ryan tells me too, and I laughed at him too. Good move.
Oh, wow.
That's a great move.
Anyways, I think
Carson Beck.
I think Caleb loves Caleb Love. Arizona here. Caleb Williams. I think this is a great idea just to have a kind of a safety valve there with Tyler Warren, and that's what he was for Drew this year. And many times Drew was in trouble. You'd see him throw the ball at 44, just get it to him somehow, some way. And the Bears kind of need that, I think. Just another guy that can kind of get it to, just to spread it out, make the offense a little bit more versatile. I think this is a solid pick here, and definitely something they're going to consider.
Yeah, the Bears definitely had a lot of investment on their offensive line. I think they could have still got one more piece to kind of really solidify the offensive line, but having somebody like a Tyler Warren he's a do-it-all type of tight end. I think that's a really good pick right there. Caleb Williams will definitely need some more options as far as passing. You know, he got some options already, but they're kind of older outside of Romeo. So having another young guy to kind of grow with him and his development, help him out, I think that'd be good. What do you think, Chris?
Oh, I like the pick. This is a very coded Ben Johnson coded pick. You know, we all know like how much of an offensive freak he is. He likes to do like he likes to do like different concepts. So with getting more, you're going to run a lot more. That means you're going to run a lot more 12 personnel. Especially now with Keenan Allen gone, it's going to be DJ Moore, Roman Dusey going into his second year. Yeah, Tyler Warren. Now Cole Kmet's already locked up, I believe. Still has 3 more years left on his deal as well. You fortify the offensive line. The Bears had my favorite all season in regards to spending money because they spent the money in the right places. I like the Warren pick. Personally, I probably would have gone ahead and draft one of these edge rushers because you can never have too much of a good pass rush. But I really do like the Warren pick here because he's going to be with a coach that is definitely going to me, like, is your offensive if your head play caller, your head coach, or your offensive coordinator, your play caller is like Ben Johnson as compared to what Arthur Smith is, I'm gonna enjoy anybody that you're gonna be drafting to your offense.
I just think there's two tight ends that you can draft right here that are both going to be playmakers for you. And if they would have hired a defensive coach, he probably would have went Jalen Walker from Georgia or something like that. But I think you got an offensive-minded head coach now. You're gonna look to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands and get it into playmakers' hands. I mean, I just think that's the way they're going to go. So,
100%. All right, let's get to our next pick, which is my pick for the 49ers. I really don't want to draft for the 49ers, I'm not gonna lie. But just kind of looking at the landscape of how everything's kind of going and some players that are sliding down. They're most likely gonna pay Brock Purdy a hefty bag. And the best thing to do if you're gonna do that with a guy is protect them. We talked about this earlier. And my pick right here is probably gonna be Calvin Banks, offensive tackle from Texas, just to kind of protect him. You spend a lot of money in. You're gonna pay a lot of money into Purdy. It should be in the next couple of months. Honestly, probably gonna pay him. So Calvin Banks, really good tackle right there. Protect him on the blind side. Get him some help on the offensive line. I think that'd be a good pick. Ray, I'm gonna let you start on this one again.
I mean, I like the player. I'm not as convinced that 49ers is going to sign Brock Purdy, but I wouldn't sign him for the money he's asking for. But that's me. I'm talking about the pick. The pick is a good, solid pick, though.
All right, what do you think, Sam?
Yeah, no, I think they need offensive line help, and this can't hurt them. I do think this is kind of just a value pick and something Shanahan's going to consider. They don't have any, again, glaring needs. This is still a capable roster, and getting some O-line help is never going to hurt you.
Plus, you got Christian McCaffrey. He always getting hurt. That will help that, get him more open holes and stuff like that. What do you think, Chris?
I'm never gonna dismiss anybody who is a serious contender for a Super Bowl going offensive lineman, because you never can lack on having offensive line depth, especially when your next investment is going to be in Brock Purdy, which you're going to pay him $45-50 million a year. So I like the pick. Personally, you also could have gone somebody on the edge as well. You could have also got yourself a Shamar Stewart or a Mike Green from Marshall, because right across from Bosa is Grossman Toast. And he only had 4 sacks last year, which they could have also really helped, bolster that pass rush in front as well, which could also help them put them back into Super Bowl contention. So either way, this is a very John Lynch pick on either side of the football. So this is a good pick.
I'll give you, Chris, I'll give you that, because I was looking at Mike Green here. The only reason I didn't is because the way the draft board was kind of falling. This is a really deep defensive line draft. You get somebody in the second round, they don't have a super high pick anyway, so they can get somebody that's fairly early in the second round, get another defensive end there. But the way the draft board is, I think the value is at the offensive line, since there's only been 2 that have been taken. So that's why I did that. We got Patrick in the house. What's up, Patrick Girlinghouse? He says wide receiver would be nice for the 49ers too. I disagree because of the value of the wide receivers right now. I mean, you can go with McMullen right here. Even what's the Texas wide receiver?
Golden.
Matthew
Golden.
Yeah.
I just think it's too early for that right at this moment. So I probably wouldn't go that route unless I'm trading back in the first round for the 49ers. I know they don't have Debo anymore, but I would probably just try to not make that pick so early, So all right, let's get to our next pick. Thank you for getting on for us, Patrick. Appreciate that. The 12th pick right here is going to Sam. He got his rivals, I can't even say their names. The disgusting team down there, the Cowgirls. Who you got?
Well, I think one of the main parts why Dallas was not good last year, plus why Dak got injured, was their run game wasn't really fearful. And, you weren't going to get scared with Rico Dowd there. And, when they had Zeke, I think it was just that was their identity. And I think for them to kind of get back here, I'm going to take Omarion Hampton out of UNC here, the 12th pick.
Wow.
The front office that nobody trusts at the moment, right? I mean, this is a team that a lot of people don't think have sharp crystal eye draft tendencies. I think they're going to, again, reach for a big playmaker here because they lack them. And they lack them outside of CD. And I was, kind of tempted to maybe go wide receiver. I think this is kind of the direction, or this is a little bit of a sleeper pick, maybe a stretch, but I think I have a confidence that they're going to be definitely in store for running back, whether it's in round 1, maybe round 2.
Wow. I'm shocked, Sam. I am shocked. I'm going to let Chris go first, though. I think he's shocked, too.
Talented running back. Very talented running back, but
yes, he is.
I'm not gonna lie, Sam. Like, this is probably the biggest curveball that we've had in this draft so far. Because the Cowboys, especially on the offensive side of the ball, they have a lot of needs on nearly all single fronts. I'm not sure that Jerry Jones is that much in love with Dak Prescott as what people really, really like to believe on. I feel like at this point, it was like either you take your chances on either some of these quarterbacks in this draft or Dak Prescott, and I feel like because of that, you have to take Dak Prescott. Rico is not a 3-down running back, so I understand why the need to go running back. That being said, they also have a glaring hole also at wide receiver too, because especially when you have CeeDee Lamb can only do so much, and more importantly, he's primarily lines up in the slot. So you really need somebody to legitimately take the top off the defense, or be a legitimate threat on 50-50 balls as well. So this would have been a prime spot for either McMillan or Golden to go right here as well. Not to mention they also had some offensive line issues as well. Some offensive linemen have also retired as well. So I think this would definitely be a prime spot for Dallas to potentially trade back, get yourself an offensive lineman, and get yourself a running back like in the early to mid-second. I think there are other better running backs. I think Caleb Johnson from Iowa is better, and I think Travion Henderson's better too.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Because if the Giants do that, if the Cowboys do this.
This is a mock draft. This is a prediction of what I think the Cowboys will do. And let's be real. Like, if we're the GMs of these teams, probably wouldn't be going running back here, but I know how desperate this franchise is at the moment, and I don't know if they're going to be in love with McMillan. I don't like him here. I think Golden's the better option. I think he's the better receiver. If I was taking one, that was who I was between, Golden or Hampton. I just threw a wild card out there, but Golden can play inside and out. I think that's what's going to be kind of attractive with him in this spot, but like we said, I mean, I've seen this team be able to survive having barely any talent outside of CeeDee Lamb at the wide receiver position before, but I have not been able to see this team survive without a true running game. And I know you guys have running backs above this, but to me, I think a lot of these guys that after G&T, it's kind of interchangeable. And I do like Henderson as well, but I think it's kind of pick your poison after.
I agree with that part. It's definitely pick your poison, pick who you think fits your scheme. I'll say this right now: the Cowboys have Javonte Williams, who they just brought in, and they also have Miles Sanders. So if you have guys like in that caliber, and they're not like top tier caliber wide receivers, but like if you have somebody like that, I will wait to get a running back. So if the Cowboys decide to get Omarion, I will be extremely happy as an Eagles fan. But I see what you're trying to do, Sam. I just think that the point of the draft, it don't make sense for them at the moment. You get what I'm saying? Now, and if you want to talk about how the Cowboys draft, a wide receiver right here would be exactly what they would do. And the Cowboys like the speed too. So I think it would be a golden at this point. Right there in their backyard. They know who it is. The fans will love that kind of pick being right there in the backyard. So I think golden would be something that it would be a more Jerry Jones type of pick. Ray, what you think about this pick though?
I like the running back there. I would have probably went wide receiver too. There were like a group of like 2 or 3 guys I probably would have went at wide receiver, to be honest with you.
Correct. Patrick is a Eagles fan. Okay. He said, "Go Birds." Let Jerry stay delusional. That's funny. I'm trying to figure out, is that you in that picture, Patrick? Good looking picture, man. All right, let's get to our next pick. Let me update this real quick. All right, so let's get to our next pick, which is Miami Dolphins. Now, that is Ray's favorite team. I know he's excited to be the GM here because before we got on, I know he was very annoyed with his current GM. So, Ray, you are the GM. You see it right there. It says GM Ray. Who you taking it here, sir?
You know what? I'm gonna take Jalen Walker, edge rusher from Georgia.
Nice.
Thought about taking a corner here because there's a couple guys I really like at corner, but it's a little too early for me to take a corner right here. And I don't know exactly what I'm going to get from my edge rushers. I got main guys coming off of injuries this year, so we'll see what happens. So
nice. Good stuff, Patrick. Appreciate you getting on, man. Chris, what you think about this pick?
Miami is kind of in another thing. They're kind of in a no man's land where it's like you win 6, 7, 8 games every year, but half your rosters on IR by like week 14. So
yeah,
you're also kind of in a desperate need to get some legitimate talent in, and I think Walker fits the bill. I absolutely like him. I think to me, I have him as my second best edge rusher in this draft. So if it's good for Ray, it's good for me.
Yeah, good for Patrick too. He likes it too. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, I think this is BPA. I think best player available here for a team that Ray's been talking about the whole time. How Miami's just struggling with their pretty much everything, and getting good quality players is kind of how you get rid of that. And young talent. That's what this is. And the Georgia edge and the Georgia round 1 talent over the last couple of years has really done well in this league. So I don't think this is a bad idea at all.
All right. Yeah, you can't go wrong with them Georgia guys right now, man. Speaking from experience. All right, let's get to our next pick here. That would be the Colts with Sam on the clock. Sam, who are you taking for the Colts?
Interesting spot here. Obviously, this team signed my guy actually in the offseason, Daniel Jones, bringing him in on a 1-year deal. So there might be even a camp battle between him and Anthony Richardson. And to me, I think it might be a little bit more of a competition than some are kind of making out to be. I don't think you hand somebody $14 million and be like, this guy's going to play no games for me. I like, that's not what I think's the case here. Again, a team that needs help in the back end. I think I'm going to go with a guy I like out of South Carolina, Nick Amanawari. I think the Colts could get some help in their secondary. I know they signed Cam Bynum, I believe, in free agency. This gives them a versatile safety in the back end to be able to pair him with now. And I think they're starting to build, a decent group back there, a DB room. And I think this is definitely a good pick for them here.
Definitely. I don't have Nick for some reason. I know I did it. I know I did his graphic. I don't have his graphic. I know who. I'm so mad. I must have missed him or something.
No, you're good. You're good.
But
maybe he's wearing like some weird South Carolina jersey you can't see or something.
No, let me see real quick. I know I had him in here. I know I did it. Let me see real quick. Sam, you might be the first one by default because I know I did. I must have deleted it or something by accident. So we don't have a graphic for him this time. So Sam, you're the one that got me this time, but I know that's my fault. I definitely did up. But Ray, what do you think about that pick?
I like the player. I think he's a good player. I like the pick. I like South Carolina defensive backs. I think it's a very good pick.
I agree. What do you think, first?
I like it too. The Colts definitely need help on the defensive side of the ball. Personally, I would probably look for a wide receiver here because I think out of the entire league, I think the Colts have a bottom five like wide receiver room. And if you're going to try to either give Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson a legitimate shot of competing and actually being an NFL starting quarterback, you kind of need to reinforce the weapons department. But in the end, you need people to stop the ball as well. So I definitely like him as a prospect, and I feel like he'll definitely make an impact week 1.
Yeah, just seeing Drew Lock throw for 400 yards against the secondary last year kind of put the idea in my brain there. But again, I think this is a team that Tyler Warren could be a potential pick if he falls down here too. I think that's a weapon that they could potentially look at. But like we said, still, this is a team that needs a lot, and I think this is a pretty safe pick that we get some help in the back end.
100%. Ray, did you go yet? I don't remember.
I talked. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely good pick. I like it. Really athletic safety right there. I want to see how he does, but the Colts have an underrated secondary. So putting him in there, having an athletic guy, it won't be the biggest thing because you already have a pretty good solid secondary for the Colts.
Also,
So go ahead.
the one thing I would say if I were going to go skill player here, I would go Loveland, the tight end from Michigan right here. I just love this kid, and I think that he could help you out where the wide receiver has a little bit more depth later down the road where I had two tight ends that I really, really liked. Warren was one and Loveland is the other one. I really like these kids. So
I agree. All right, let's get to our next pick. It's going to be number 15, the Falcons, going to Chris. Who are you bringing down here to Atlanta? Chris, you are
I'm
muted,
muted.
sir.
Sorry about that. I just saw you lost your starting center in free agency, but there's no center that I would even consider taking in the first round. Man, this is kind of tough. Listen, at this point, best player available.
Tell me. Before you even say it, it's not that tough. If you down here in Atlanta, this pick is not that tough. But go ahead, I'm gonna let you cook.
I feel like the guy that I'm going to pick is wrong anyway, but you know what? I'm going to go best player available. I'm going to go Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M.
Oh my god, Shamar Stewart. Oh no, that's actually a good pick. Actually.
Okay, I was about to say. Listen, I don't know how I'm well ingrained in the Falcons Twitter right now. I don't need them coming at me.
Yo, if this pick is not an edge rusher, this town was gonna explode. Like it's gonna catch on fire. It's gonna be like last year. If he's not an edge rusher, I don't even think they care what edge rusher it is. They want somebody in that spot. Just draft him in the first round. Just do it just to shut up the fans, please. I listened to enough Atlanta Falcons radio. They want an edge rusher. They do not screw this up. Now, some people might be like, "Oh, get you another wide receiver," and that's the biggest fear down here, that the Falcons fans will get another receiver to pair it with what's his name. And I'm telling you, the city do not want that. I've heard it already. They don't care who's in that spot. They want that edge rusher. Give them that edge rusher. Chris, you did a good job.
Thank God, because
Go ahead. Go ahead, Ray. What do you think?
I mean, I like Stewart. I maybe would have went Mike Hill Williams from Georgia. A little bit bigger, more stout guy. Plus, they like their homegrown guys. So, I mean, either way, you're going to get a guy that can help out the defense. And the defense was pretty bad last year. So,
yeah. Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. They need an edge bad, and there's a couple options here, like James Pierce Jr. too out of Tennessee. I think it's a decent option here for Atlanta. But again, I think they're just kind of happy with any of these guys. All of them are kind of round one material to me. So I like the pick here.
Agreed. Good stuff. Chris, you would not get my house burned down.
Oh, thank God. Because thank God I didn't go with my
Right.
original pick.
Definitely not. All right, so I have the Cardinals here. And I'm at a little bit of odds here. Let me update this real quick. Mainly because there's some good names in here right now. But at the same time, there's a glaring name that's there. They could get like a Mullen and pair him up with Maserati. I think it'd be a cool little pairing right there. But a guy that I would love to fall down to 32. It just staring me in my eyes. And I don't know why. I kind of know why. I think he had like off the field issues, which is why he been falling. But I'm gonna take him here, off the rip, and I'm going to go with Walter Nolan. Defensive tackle right here. I don't think they can go wrong with this. I think Mullen would be a cool pick too. Just give them a couple more options. You just got re-signed Trey McBride as well, so a lot of options for Tyler. What's his name? Kyler Murray. I'm still not high on Kyler Murray, but they touched on the offensive line last year. You know, they still need a little bit of offensive line help, but get you a guy that's going to be destructive on the defensive line. I think people don't look highly of him for some reason, and I think it's the offseason stuff, off the field stuff. But Chris, I'm gonna start with you. What do you think about this pick?
I don't know how long Jonathan Gannon has left on Arizona. I don't know how much good Willie has left there. Like Sam would probably be a better component to ask for that because he's in Arizona. But I know that he'll probably be relieved that he's actually finally getting some help on the defensive side of the ball, which they desperately need.
Yeah, he's defensive.
No, I love the pick. I was gonna take him with my next pick. Actually, I think this helps Arizona's run defense, which struggled last year. And when you're looking at what they did in free agency, they did give Josh Sweat that huge bag. But also, I think this just adds that D line, and they need an identity, and they need a true strength. And I think if they're able to really bulk up that D line, and that could be their strength, I think this is how that team could succeed. Defense wasn't bad, secondary wasn't bad last year, but they did get gashed up the middle a ton. So I like the pick here.
What do you think, Ray?
I mean, I like the pick too. I maybe would have went skill player here because I think Kyler Murray is on his last leg in Arizona, man. If he don't do something soon, they're going to be looking to cut bait with him. So,
Chris. No, I agree.
Maserati Marv.
was that?
Free Marvin Harrison Jr.
I probably would have went tight end here. Loveland again with Michigan. And someone to help out. Marvin Harrison Jr. Was that?
So they just gave McBride that huge deal.
That's the only reason I didn't do it. So that's the only reason I didn't do it.
I like McBride, and he had a good solid year last year. I mean, I maybe would have went wide receiver then, but you can't go wrong with defensive players. You need to stop people too. So it was fine.
All right, let's get to number 17 with the Bengals, and that would be you, Chris. Who you got there? Oh, sorry, Sam. I said Chris. I keep doing that to you guys. I apologize.
You're good.
It's Sam.
Yeah. I think this team's glaring need is defensively, obviously. They really don't need anything offensively to become a Super Bowl caliber team. We know that at this rate. Trey Hendrickson's disgruntled. I think they need some more help on the edge, somebody that's going to be able to do what he does in case he's not ready for the season. This guy has some really impressive numbers from last year. I'm going to go with Boston College's Donovan Azikaraku. He's the edge rusher. He had 14 sacks and over 5 hurries last year. He was solid for BC, who, again, kind of came out of nowhere last year and was solid pretty much all season long. And I think the Bengals getting another edge rusher here, somebody who can help in the run defense but also get home to the passer, I think is going to help this defensive unit. And like we said, I mean, this team was just slaughtered last year on defense. The defense put them in every game. The offense blew out a ton of teams, but they were always in games just because of how bad that defense was, and they need to fix it up fast.
Very athletic guy, really good at what he does. I think he's a little bit of a project, and I think that the Bengals need a game changer right now on that defense. That defense is really bad, and to have somebody that's like, I feel like he'll catch on real fast, but like he's a little bit of a project where you need to kind of like hone him in a little bit with his skills. But if you do, he's gonna be a beast. I really do think he's gonna be a beast. But for me as a Bengal, I would love him just to have somebody on that defense. I mean, that defense is atrocious, but he's more of a project. So, like, do you want to take him here or with some other players still on the board? Maybe not, but his potential is really, really high. So I like the pick. I'm not down on the pick, but it's more of what the Bengals the state of the Bengals more than the actual pick and the fit. Ray, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's a good pick. They need help. They need help everywhere on defense. I mean, there's different guys I may have thought about taking. I'm not sure about their cornerback situation. I really like Janae Barron from Texas. I maybe would have went there.
Okay. Chris?
The Bengals drafting the defensive player, that's a shock. This is a draft in which I remember Dallas did this a few years ago. I don't know how many of those guys really panned out or still on the roster, but at this point, if this is a draft where you need to go off defense, this is the one. And I think, getting another edge rusher really helps, especially with Trey Henderson, who led the league in sacks last year. Getting somebody to, help alleviate that pass rush, not get as many double teams, especially when your salary is essentially going to Burrow, Higgins, and Chase. You really need somebody to, at least get after the quarterback and get some stops.
Yeah. And that's the thing about signing all those receivers. How you're going to keep Henderson is going to be very interesting because he's going to want his money too. And he wants to trade out, so that's going to be interesting. Ray, did you go?
I did.
Okay. I'm sorry, Ray. I keep forgetting if you went that.
It's fine, man.
All right, awesome. All right, let's get to our next pick. Sorry, guys. All right. Let's get to our next pick, which is going to be the Seahawks. That is going to be me. And I am – oh, man. I don't like this. All right, so obviously the Seahawks need some offensive line help, right? I'm looking at a couple of guys right here. I like what I see in a sense, but I might just pull this trick. So I was gonna do this, but since this player is still on the team, because I heard about some DK Metcalf rumors that he could get traded. He's still on the team, so I'm not gonna go that route because McMullen's kind of there. He kind of could be a good pick for them. But
Metcalf got traded.
Huh?
Metcalf got traded.
He did get traded. Yeah. Okay, I thought it was tripping.
Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. He did get traded. All right, I'm taking McMullen here, then. Replace him. Really good player. He's been lingering too long. I know you need offensive line help right now, but get what's his name from the Vikings? I see ghosts, man. What's his name? Come on, quarterback.
Sam Darnold.
Get him some more weapons. Tyler Lockett is off the team too. They only got the kid from Ohio State at the moment, so get him another weapon. I think you can still get some interior offensive linemen later on in the draft. But you got somebody like Mullen falling at this point. Just grab him, go get him. I didn't even put him on the screen yet, but yeah, I think that would be a good fit for them right there. I wonder what you guys think about the pick because it is at least a little unconventional. I'm gonna start with Sam. What do you think about this?
Yeah, as an Arizona, I got to watch a lot of his games this year. Difference maker, right? I think he'll do a lot what JSN doesn't. He's a high ball getter. He's going to kind of provide you with a lot of things that DK did for Seattle. So I think this is a good pick by you, Jerome. And if he falls this far, I can't really see, you know, this younger coaching staff, offensive coaching staff, trying to help Sam Darnold succeed in year one. It's important for free agent quarterbacks to come in, I think, and be okay in year one because if you're out there and you struggle really badly, I think it's hard to come back from a little bit. And anyways, I love this pick. I think it helps out Darnold, and this is a type of move that makes Seattle a little bit more scary heading into next year.
What do you think, Ray?
Again, I think it's a good pick. It'll help him out down the future too. So, I mean, he's a good player. They need playmakers on that offense, which they let Metcalf leave, which I didn't disagree with because they're a young team trying to build a roster now, and he wasn't going to be happy with if he doesn't get the ball. So moving on from him, as talented as he is probably a good move. And now I hope you got a guy that can come in here and not do what he does, but at least take some of the pressure off of it.
Agreed. Sam, Chris? Muted.
Oh, sorry. First of all, Jerome, we need to get you like a Tony reality because the memory thing is going on. It's going too fast.
I forgot. You're
Yeah,
right.
man, I thought
You're
I
right.
was the old guy here, man. What happened? Nah.
Dude, it's so much going on right now, but I feel you.
Yeah, but no, like in all seriousness, I like the pick. Sam Darnold proved that in the right circumstances, in the right situation, which can go for most quarterbacks, but him particularly last year, which was great for his confidence. You give him amazing playmakers at the position, like Jackson Smith-Njigba is an amazing route runner. McMillan is a complete 180 in terms of like what he provides compared to what JSN does. High point receiver, so he'll be perfect in red zone situations. And more importantly, like this is a very now young offense, and he'll come into a very young offense in which all those guys have the potential to all grow and win games together. The only issue now that I really have on that offense really is Kenneth Walker really a long-term solution at that running back position because of the injuries?
They got Kenneth Walker and his backup from UCLA.
Charbonnet. I'm not a
Charbonnet,
fan really of I'm not really like big on either one of them, but in in a perfect world, everybody stays healthy. Like this is a very attractive offense, and with Sam Darnold leading it.
Okay. Well, appreciate you guys for the backup on that one. All right, let's get to our next pick, which will be Buccaneers. There you go.
Bucks.
Buccaneers at 19 with Ray. Ray, who you taking?
That's a very difficult position, man.
I don't think so.
I
think they got two guys that you can pick right here, Ray, that just fell to them, but I'm gonna let you cook.
I don't think they need wide receiver at all. So, you know what? I'm not sure about their cornerback situation either, to be honest with you. I think their corners are pretty good, actually. You know what? I'm going to take Jahad Campbell from Alabama, linebacker.
Okay. Jahad Campbell. All right. Tell us why Jahad right there, right?
He's a playmaker. He's a good linebacker. He's instinctive. He can overpower people. He's quick enough to get back and play in the shade in the secondary. I just think he's a versatile player for a team that doesn't really have a lot of linebackers that are that versatile.
Correct. And yeah, I definitely agree with that. What do you think about that, Chris?
Oh, I love the pick. I think also he's going to a perfect situation. Todd Bowles is one of the better defensive minds in all of football, so Campbell is definitely going to have his hand on nearly everywhere, whether it's rushing the passer, whether it's dropping back in coverage. So there's definitely going to be a lot more. There's going to be a lot of utility uses for him, and it's also a need for them as well because when you saw that playoff game last year against Washington in the guts of the game and where they needed to stop, they didn't have anybody that was able to stop Jaden Daniels from getting that first down run. So hopefully Campbell getting there remedies that a little.
What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting this guy to go a little earlier, so I think again this is a good pick for a solid team that just needs a little bit more juice, a little bit more elite talent. So I think this is a good high ceiling pick for Tampa here.
Definitely. No, I agree with that. Ray, I thought you could have went like a Mike Green right there. Even a Jahad Barron. I think that they still do need some secondary help, but after looking at, yeah. That's why I thought you was gonna pick him because. No, we sit here. You hear us, right?
Everyone there?
Yeah.
Wow.
You hear, Ray?
What happened?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, yeah. I didn't hear anybody.
Oh, maybe you can't hear me.
I just think, honestly, I went for best player available. And again, linebacker's a spot where they don't have anybody special. And I'm not saying this kid is going to be special, but I think he's going to be different than what they've had.
Well, they do have Levante David, but he is getting older in age right now, so we definitely see how that goes. But I think pairing him up with him kind of keep him a little bit youthful. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let's get to our next pick, guys. And the next pick would be the Broncos with Chris. Who you taking there, Ray? Chris?
Yeah, well, first of all, I understand the confusion. We both have magnificent beards.
Agreed.
But this one is interesting. Sean Payton has been very vocal about getting Bo Nix a lot more help on the offensive side of the ball. And I'll go on record, I did not think much of Bo Nix last year, but he absolutely proved me wrong. So I will be happy to have Crow, very seasoned Crow, right here, and I'll take that. That being said, you can easily go running back here, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm taking a running back here at this point, especially with the way that this draft has gone. Funny enough, a lot of my drafts actually have Hampton going here. Thanks, Sam. But I'm actually going to go wide receiver here. I'm going to go Matthew Golden from Texas.
What? Okay, I'm gonna tell you why I'm surprised in a second. But why him, Ray? Chris, I'm sorry, your names are so short.
Listen, if you ever have trouble, my name is right there, Chris. But I just think they need. I think Bo Nix needs a guy going forward that if you're going to need a third down reception, if you're going to need someone to give him the ball, I think Golden is that guy. I like Marvin Mims, but I like him more as a Y, and more importantly, Courtland Sutton. He's kind of in a weird place. He's a vet, but they don't really use him like a normal young quarterback would for a reliable vet. They also signed Evan Ingram, so I think tight end was also out of play as well. But I love his skill set, 5'11", a speed demon. And I think with the way Sean Payton, caters his offense, we've seen it, how he uses a lot of wide receiver, a lot of speed guys over the years, guys like Devery Henderson. So I really think this will be a perfect fit for Sean Payton's offense.
Great. What do you think, Ray?
I agree with what Chris just said. I think he's a versatile player, and if I'm a receiver, I want to play for a guy like Sean Payton. The guy's a great play caller.
Chris? Sam. Sorry.
Sam, yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I think it's a good spot for Golden here. I definitely could see Hampton as well going here and a running back potentially. But yeah, I think it's a good spot for Golden to kind of be that wide receiver too there in Denver, give some help to Knicks.
100%. All right. Real quick. Patrick says that Oran was still available. I think that would be a lot for Broncos right there. Flip, thank you for getting on, man. Appreciate you checking us out. He says it seems like a good trade down spot and get Trey Henderson right there a little bit later. I think
agree. I was actually really thinking I was down between either Golden or Henderson, but I was thinking that if the Broncos had this pick, I think they would trade down anyway. But I feel like with Golden falling down to 20, I feel like it's too good for Sean Payton to pass up on.
100%. 100%. We got 72 people in here. Appreciate everybody that is in here right now. The numbers keep going up, so we do appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you want to put in a comment, we do have the comment section right down there. So if you want to put a comment, like our two guys, Flip and Patrick, being in here, definitely, you could do that as well. Put your comment in, like Flip just said. Yeah, I agree about Golden. Chris, the only reason I was a little surprised because I thought you was gonna go with your boy from Ohio State, Amuka. I say his name, Mbukia, whatever. How you say his name?
Amika Egbuka.
Yeah, no, I'm not good with names. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, let's get to our next pick then. Who we got next? We got the Steelers being drafted by Sam. We taking Sam?
It's a tough spot because I feel like this is kind of where the no trades in this draft kind of affects what the Steelers might do in a sense. And I do expect Shador, I think, to go before 21. If I had to say today, I do expect him to go before 21. And I have a weird itch that the Steelers like Dart just as much here. So I'm going to take Jackson Dart, but I do believe that Shador is going to be going before this. I think that Jackson Dart is just more of a fit for what the Steelers are, and I think he is a better prospect in Mike Tomlin's eyes, and I think in other analysts' eyes too. I think these two are very even, and I just see Dart being more of a fit for what the Steelers are at the moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man, I love this pick. I'm a huge Jackson Dart fan. I think that he is going to be one of those guys that you're gonna be like, he's better than expected. He didn't have a lot of college tape. Where did he come from again? Ole Miss? No, he's from Ole Miss. Where did he come from before Ole Miss? Dang, I forgot where. It wasn't Penn State, was it? I forgot where he come. But he was a backup there. Went to Ole Miss and really shined as an Ole Miss guy. Faster than he looks. Got a really good arm. He just don't have a lot of experience. So I think that's what kind of get a lot of people. And then he had like. It's funny with him because he had his really good games are really, really good games, and then his bad games are really bad.
He was a USC guy, Jerome, before this, so you were
USC.
right.
USC,
yes. Like, highly rated recruit. Took a while to kind of figure it out, but figured it out in a system with a pro-style system, pro-style coach. I think experience in the SEC helps here, and I think he has a more pro-style game than a Milroe would offer here, and to me, I don't think Tomlin wants the cameras or the attention that a short Shador is going to bring to the Steelers, if that makes sense.
I get that. No, I get that.
I think it's a no-nonsense place, and I think Shador has good intentions sometimes, but I think the camera spectacle and the media for a rookie would just be a little out of place in Pittsburgh.
No, I agree, and I do not believe that the Steelers think Mason Rudolph is a good. They're okay with having him right now. It's no way they believe that. It's absolutely when he said that, I was just like, excuse me, like it's no way. So Ray, I'm gonna let you take this. What do you think about the pick?
I think it's a good pick. I think that it's a little early for him, but I mean we always know that teams overdraft quarterbacks. Man, look at last year's draft. That was ridiculous, but it is what it is, you know.
All right, what do you think, Chris?
I had to applaud for Sam because that was a bold move, and I feel like it's long overdue for Pittsburgh. The ghost of Ben Roethlisberger is gone. Stop with the stopgaps. Stop with the Russell Wilsons. Stop with the Aaron Rodgers. Get yourself a guy that is going to be, your franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. I like the size that he has. I like the fact that he's battle tested in the SEC because there are no days off within that conference. And more importantly, he's going to be coming into a situation in which he's going to have George Pickens and DK Metcalf week one throwing in the ball along with Pat Fryermuth. You can't ask for a better situation week one for an NFL quarterback, especially out of all the rookie quarterbacks that we had, in this draft with Shador and Cam. If this does happen, Dart's going to have the best weapons in the best situation going into week one.
And I think if you draft a Jackson Dart here, you still can bring in Aaron Rodgers if you really, really wanted to. Because Aaron Rodgers, I think Jackson Dart would be a good fit for him to sit a little bit and be behind Aaron Rodgers and let Aaron Rodgers kind of do his thing and see if Aaron Rodgers is even still good. But if you take him here, you don't have to still be questioning, are we still going to get Aaron Rodgers or is it going to be Mason Rudolph? I almost can't remember his name because he's not that good. I don't know why Thompson thought that was a good idea to say something like that. I would have just been quiet. But
and
you can't go into the season.
I think if any spot a rookie quarterback's going to succeed in, it's going to be this one, right? And I think Dart is more of the guy that can have immediate success over a Shador in the Steelers' eyes, if that makes sense. I know both have been battle tested, but again, this is hard because to me, Shador is one of the biggest wild cards we've seen in years. Am I wrong? He could go 3, he could go 23. We do not know right now, and that's when somebody's going to be trading up if they really like him because no one's going to sit around all this way to 21. Correct? It's going to get lurky around the Saints at 9. That's when I think people are going to start to kind of wonder about this.
No, I agree. And the good thing about Jackson Dart going here as well is you got DK Metcalf, who's also from Ole Miss, so I'm pretty sure they talked at some point and had some kind of relationship. You got George Pickens. He's going to be able to hit the ball in the spot that both of those guys can only catch the ball. And I don't think either of those guys really had – I mean, DK did have Russell Wilson for a little bit, but being able to hit the ball up so those two guys can high point the ball because that's really what they're really good at, you have a good player. And I think that'll work out. And Fryermuth too. They just need to just get themselves a good running back to complement all that. And I like it. I like it, Sam. I really do.
The one thing I will say about Dart, if he does go to Pittsburgh, load up on a lot of ibuprofen because there's going to be a lot of complaining and target complaining between both Pickens and Metcalf. So you're going to need it for a headache.
You do that. Oh man.
Things about Dart is I think a lot of people talk about his toughness, and I think kind of to me the Steelers need another identity. Like Chris said, Ben's gone now, and to start building something new and to have another quarterback really be the successor under Tomlin will give this team another life to compete again in the AFC like they used to.
100%. All right, let's get to our next pick, which is going to be the LA Chargers.
Okay.
Chris, you were
here, Chris? Your perfect guy? Didn't you say you were a perfect guy for the Chargers?
Yes, I did actually.
Oh man. Well, you got some options, man.
Yeah, I do. It's crazy how the way this draft actually came about, but I'm a guy that sticks with my board, and with the Chargers need somebody to catch the football. And which is why I'm going Emeka Ibuka from Ohio State.
No! Why would you give them Ohio State guy? All right, we're gonna talk about this, but all right, I'm gonna let you. Go ahead. Talk. Why?
Oh, he's the ideal receiver. He's a horrible guy. If you watch a lot of Ohio State games, which both of you have had, you're a Penn State fan, you're Jerome, you watch Michigan. Emeka Ibuka does everything. He's a really good route runner. If you target him at least 10 times, he's getting at least 7 catches. But more importantly, I think the biggest thing is because the way Harbaugh loves to have a run-heavy offense, he's a really good run blocker. And I really think that between Justin Herbert needing a reliable wide receiver, when Ibuka's healthy, he's arguably one of the better ones in the class after Travis Hunter. He's arguably the best wide receiver in this class. So the fact that he fell all the way down to 22, great route running, good hands, very good run blocker, and more importantly, in the league in which it's definitely now on a lot of guys' draft boards in regards to grading wide receivers is run blocking. So this is a very Harbaugh-esque pick right here.
Go ahead, Ray. What do you think about it?
I may have thought about going edge player here, but Jerome, I love Ibuka. I've always been a fan, so I think it's a good pick.
We think, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, this guy is a player, and I think he's a great fit for what this Chargers team needs. Kind of what Chris is saying. He does a lot of the grittier stuff, and he's just also a solid pass catcher. And it's kind of been sad to watch the Chargers blow games over the years because a lack of pass catchers for Justin Herbert. I mean, you could say what happened in the playoffs this year, but down the stretch, they had chances in some of these games, and you could just tell that they were overmatched because they didn't have enough weapons on the outside. And I think this kind of changes that here. And good pick. I think it's a true fit, true match.
Okay. Now, Chris, I will say this. You did a really good job convincing me that this is a good pick because you're right. It is a good pick. But there's one player that's still on the board. And I know Harbaugh. I've been a Harbaugh guy forever. And when he loves somebody, he loves somebody. And I will tell you this. There's only 2 prospects that I ever seen him rave about from the minute they got into the door until they left. And that was JJ and Colton Loveland. And I would be shocked if he had an opportunity to get Colton Loveland to pass up on him for Ohio State guy. Now, I'm not gonna say that he wouldn't get an Ohio State guy. He would. And this would be a really good one. But
Ohio State guy was his leading rusher last year.
You're right. He loved Colton Loveland. Like, he raved about him as a prospect coming into Michigan. So I would be extremely shocked if Colton Loveland's still there that he would not go get Colton Loveland. But hey, he it's a chance. You're right. This is a good pick. I'm not gonna pick at all. It's a really good pick, and I can see that's definitely happened. But I know Harbaugh too. He loved his guys. Colton Loveland was his guy. Safest pick, wide receiver in a draft. Sure, and for sure, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I agree, Flip. All right, let's get to our next pick. I think it's me, if I'm not mistaken. The Packers. Oh, it's actually Ray. Ray, you got the Packers. You are on the clock, sir. Who's taking here, sir?
I got the Green Bay Packers. Man, I'm not sure about this. You know what? I'm going to take Jahdae Barron, cornerback from Texas.
Good pick.
I actually have him as a top 10 player, dude.
I know you. I know you like him, right?
What's that?
I know you like him. I already do know you like him. Why do you Why do you feel like he fell down this far?
I think because some guys are going to be afraid because he didn't run extremely fast at the combine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's physical. He knows how to use his hands. He's got fairly long arms. I think he's going to be one of them guys that they think like 5 years from now, like this guy's one of the best corners in football. I really do. So
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, what you guys think? Sam?
I think this is a pretty complete team, and this will help their back end. Besides that, I don't really know about much needs that the Packers have. I do like their group of young receivers, Josh Jacobs, you got Jordan Love, and again, I think this is a good pick here, and this guy did fall a ton, so I think this is a franchise that would pick him up in that scenario.
Chris?
Well, the Packers are a very solid team overall. Like nothing truly stands out. The one need I really think is a legitimate wide receiver one, but at this point in the draft, there's not really anybody you can convince yourself is that it's going to be definitively a wide receiver one. So Jada Barron definitely improves the back end of that Packers secondary, especially with Jaden Alexander's status in the air. He could be potentially moved on draft night as well. So it's definitely another young secondary guy, going into Green Bay system. Over the years, they normally pan out very well. But yeah, overall, I like this pick.
Agree. All right, let's get to our next pick. I'm on the clock, and I have options. And I'm looking at this. I'm like, do I dare pair my next franchise quarterback up with his tight end that he loves so much? Or do I dare go on the defensive end because they do need some defensive line help and bring in the guy from Michigan? Or do I look at my board and say there's a player that's really good here and I have an aging player at this position? Should I grab that position? And it's tough. But just knowing me from being down here, I would absolutely love to get a Michigan guy. But being down here and seeing this guy play, I have to take him here. It's just a glaring look. I'm taking Malachi Starks here for the Vikings. I just have to. The athletic ability, all over the field. Harrison's getting older in that position, so he can really take over the reins there. It's not necessarily it's a need, but I don't think it's a dire need. I think they can definitely go some other direction. They can go running back, DB, offensive line. I was looking at maybe putting Mike Green in. Kenneth Grant in there. But just seeing Malachi Starks right there, I just think that it was just too much of a good pick to not pick him here. Ray, what you think about this?
I mean, I love the player. I think again, like he's a guy who I have just as a top 25 player. I mean, you get him here, he's going to be a good player. He's a very versatile player, and he can step in when the other guy retires, and he's been in the league for like 8 years now. So I think it's a good solid pick.
Oh, I think it was more than 8 years, right? He's been in the league for a minute. Harrison been in the league for a minute.
Okay.
Sam, what you think about this?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good, solid move in terms of that Harrison Smith point you made. And also the Vikings lost last year. Just Kyron Williams, I remember him gashing them in that wild card round there a little bit. So, Stafford was pretty successful in that game as well. So you kind of saw that the Vikings still are a little bit ways away from being that true complete team. And like you said, Jerome, I trust your opinion on DBs a ton, and I think this is a guy that probably should have went even earlier. I think he did fall a little bit in this. So 24 from Minnesota. I love this pick. I think this is a solid move. And that's a coaching staff and a front office that I'm beginning to respect a lot. I think Kevin O'Connell knows really what he's doing there, and they know how to win games. I like what they're doing in Minnesota.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris?
Brian Flores is probably doing a backflip if this happens. To me, I think he's the best safety in this class. The fact that he fell all the way down to 24 is absolutely crazy. But that's how sometimes drafts goes. Like you don't have a real practical explanation in as to why guys fall. Some people stick to their board. Some people have, you know, a player or two higher on their best available player board as opposed to somebody else. But Malachi Starks is absolutely a perfect fit here. We saw in back-to-back weeks, we saw the Detroit Lions and the Rams absolutely kill their secondary. It kind of ruined any sort of potential Super Bowl run that they have. And yeah, overall, you can never go wrong with a Georgia defensive player either. So perfect pick in my opinion.
Chris, I don't know how hard you know how bad and how hard it was for me to pass up on some Michigan guys. So I had to be logical on this one and be like, all right, I'm not gonna pick no Michigan guys. I'm gonna go with the DB. But yeah, I agree. I think that he will definitely help that defensive back position, which they've been trying for a while, get that shored up, and then I think this will definitely help put them in the right direction. All right. Patrick said that Malachi Love Starks. Seen him dropping a few mock drafts. Don't know why. I think they keep saying that he's a little light, which I don't think that's the case.
I don't know why. For safety, he's a little bit smallish.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's the main reason. So, all right. At number 25, Ray, you are on the clock with the Houston Texans.
Ooh, Houston Texans. You know what? I'm not even sure who they have at tight end, but I don't care. I'm taking Loveland. He's too good.
Oh,
he's just too good to last this long. It's just ridiculous.
I agree. I agree.
The fact that he's still here at 25, 26 is just a disgrace.
You also, I feel like he does different things than what Schultz does. I think you can use them both in that same offense and still be very successful, giving them tons of versatility. And even last year at the end of it, we saw Jerome, our guy, Tank Dell, fortunately go down. I mean, this guy's just been through the worst 2 years you could possibly have in your life. They needed more weapons. That's why they kind of faltered down the stretch last year. And I like this pick, Ray. I think Houston's smart enough to know if they like this guy. I don't think Dalton Schultz is going to change that.
Dalton Schultz is a good, solid inline type blocking tight end. Like you said, they can play together, Sam. And I think that, again, this guy is just too good to me see him on the board and just not take him. I had to.
I'm not going to lie, Ray. I was like starting to salivate because he's getting closer to that 32 spot, especially with the rumors with Dallas Goedert might be leaving. I would have loved him for the Eagles.
If he goes to the Eagles, I'm going to throw up. Okay, dude?
That's a good thing. Chris, what do you think about this?
I was disgusted when Quignon went to you guys last year.
Me too. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, are you kidding me?
It's going to happen again.
Jerome, stop.
It's going to happen again. Even, look, I'm sorry. We got, 7 more picks? There's a lot of good players still on the board right now that I'm watching. I'm like, how is this guy still on the board? How is this guy still on the board? So, but go ahead, Chris. What do you think about this pick?
Really not much for me to say about leveling the talent. He's as good as advertised, absolutely amazing. That being said, I don't know if I'd like this pick for Houston because there's still a glaring need for the offensive line. And as much as, Houston also got killed with a lot of injuries for the offensive line. I mean, in the skill position, Tank Dell out for a season, Stephon Diggs towards ACL, Nico Collins missed several games throughout the entire stretch. But that being said, they also have legitimate holes in the offensive line as well. Remember, you traded Laramie Tunsil. Kenyon Green did not pan out. They essentially gave him away. Also for CJ Gardner-Johnson in Philadelphia. So you still have also needs on the offensive line as well. You can I was also looking at Josh Simmons from Ohio State, offensive tackle, Josh Connolly Jr. also from Oregon, but Loveland is at this point it can't. If you're going by BPA, Loveland is the guy.
I agree. I agree. What I can see why Ray did it. I'm not gonna knock him for doing it. I can definitely see him for doing it. Why he did it. But I agree with you too, Chris. I really do.
I do agree with the fact that they could have won offensive linemen here, but there are some offensive linemen that will be there in the second round that they could take. And I don't think there's that much of a difference between the offensive linemen you get now and the ones you'll get in the second or early third round. I do think that and Jerome knows this. I love Loveland. I've loved him for 3 seasons, dude. I can't look at him on my draft board and say that I can't not take him. I can't not. I had to.
No, I hear you. I hear you, Ray, for sure.
And then the only thing better than that, though, is okay. You have Dalton Schultz, and he's a nice inline guy. You could play them together, and the best thing for a quarterback, the best friend is a good tight end that gets open in the middle of the field right away. And this guy does this better than anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. All right, let's get to our next pick here. It would be me, and I have the LA Rams. Sam, I'm not gonna lie. If Dart was to go here, I would have picked him here. I think that would have been a great spot for him to kind of sit back and learn and get that behind Stafford, who's kind of getting up there in age, and it's kind of a little bit of rumblings about him and his wife not wanting to be in LA anymore, and that kind of. I just get his replacement, see how he does this year. He's gonna do well, but get somebody in there. So I probably would have went quarterback here, to be honest. I am not reaching on Milrow. I know some mock drafts have Milrow going at the bottom of the first. I am not doing that, especially how being a Michigan fan and seeing how we've been destroying him every time we play him. I'm good. I actually seen him in the Senior Bowl as well. He did not look good there either, to be honest. So, not going to quarterback here. I would love to, but that'd be a good spot for them to get like the second or third round pick there. This one's interesting because there's players that would love to just pick on this team, to be honest. Just because they're really good players, and you can never go wrong with defensive line. You got, Green still there, Grant still there, Pierce still there. And that would be cool to put them on there and put them with those young edge rushers they already have, but that would be just too much of a luxury. I think I'm going to do a very safe pick here. Have some longevity with your quarterback, and I'm going to go with a guy that I was very impressed with at the Senior Bowl this year, and that would be Gray Zabel, tackle from Dakota. Right, I'm going to let you go first on – huh?
So it's a very Rams pick. It just seems like McVay just has this sense of knowledge that he's not willing or scared to take anyone at any point in the draft. So I like this spot for him. I think, they need offensive line help. And, I this kid looks tough. I think he'll be able to help Stafford stay up a little bit more than he did last year.
Very, very. I was very impressed with him at the Senior Bowl. I don't watch offensive line that often. That's why I always kind of let Ray kind of take the reins on it. But if there's an offensive lineman that impressed me, he must be really good. And I really like this kid. I think he does have first round abilities. Now the question is, where are you going to keep him on the outside, or are you going to put him inside? That's a question that I've been hearing a lot. But he has the ability. I think he has the ability to do both. Ray, what you think?
I agree. I think Zabel's going to be. I think as a guard, he's a special player. Though, I think his strength and his versatility will really help him at guard. He could probably play some right tackle for you, but as an interior road grading type of a guard, I think I agree with Sam. This is a Rams type of a player, tough, smart. I think this is a great pick, Jerome. I really do.
Appreciate that, Chris.
I don't have any issues with the pick. My question is that are you drafting him to play week 1? And if you are, where exactly are you going to put him on the offensive line? Because I feel like he is better inside the guard, but you have really 2 solid guards in both Doxson and Olivia. So are you going to put him on like one of the tackle spots? But in the end, like I'm not going to argue about drafting an offensive line to keep your quarterback upright, because in the end that's what helps you win games. And ultimately, if you're drafting him as an interior offensive lineman, good for them, because in the end the Rams season ended because they couldn't defend the interior.
Yes. And you never want to think about injuries, but you always got to have them in the back of your head, man, just in case. So
100%. All right, let's get to our next pick here. We winding down to the end of the draft, guys. Number 27, Sam, you have the Ravens. Who taking there?
Yeah, I think the Ravens need some help in their back end still. I know they went with Nate Wiggins last year in the draft, and I like Nate Wiggins a lot, but I'm going to take a safety here, actually, and go Notre Dame Xavier Watts. I think what he does versatility-wise at both safety positions could be helpful on this defense, and pairing him with a guy like Kyle Hamilton, I think this brings back just a dynamic and fearful Ravens defense at the AFC North. Again, Chris brought it up this entire show. This is a Joe Burrow-led division. Like, you need a defense to be able to compete in this division. So I like Watts here. I think he's just a Baltimore type of guy. Just reminds me a lot of what Hamilton was, and I think they'll double down here potentially.
Chris, if you screw this up at the end of this draft, I swear to God, we're gonna have a fight. But go ahead, Chris. What do you think about this pick?
I don't know. First of all, I don't know what you're talking about. But in all seriousness, I like this pick. Watts had 13 turnovers throughout the last 2 seasons, so the playmaking on the defensive side of the ball is there. You pair him up with probably the best playmaking safety in Kyle Hamilton. This is a very Ravens-coded pick, so this is definitely going to help their back end, especially if they do get into shootouts with the teams like the Bengals, the Bills, and like the Chiefs.
Yeah, man, I like the pick. I'm sorry. This is why I said, Chris, if you mess this up, because there's so many good edge rushers right now. That's still on the board, and this is insane.
Oh yeah, I know. I was.
I know. You know. I just had to say, because even at this point, like, even if the next 4 picks are edge rushers, it's still gonna be really good edge rushers still right there, which is crazy to me. And edge rushing deep draft, but Sam, I don't hate the pick at all. I'm not trying to down the pick, but it's so many good edge rushers. The Ravens do still need an edge rusher, so I would have probably got one of them there. But hey, I'll take this. Say, love Rebel Jr. from ECU there. I actually decided not to pick Rebel in the first round, so I didn't make a graphic of him. So I'm glad nobody picked him yet. I shouldn't probably have said that, but Ray, what do you think about the pick?
I mean, I love Watts. He's a very good, safety. Plays good, smart football player. I hate the fact that he goes to Baltimore, but I like the player.
Agree. Good pick, man. Definitely a good pick for sure. I think it's actually an underrated pick. It's a really good pick. People probably don't think about. So, all right, Chris, you have the Detroit Lions here. How are you going to help them out?
With the way that this draft is going, I have my pick of the litter in regards to the biggest glaring hole that they need is that they need a pass rusher to an opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, who went out for the season last year. I'm really just trying to figure out like which one do I like more. Do I go with the guy who had 17 sacks last year, or do I go with the Georgia Bulldog? That being said, I'll go with the Georgia Bulldog, Mikael Williams from Georgia.
Joe Williams. All right. Ray, what do you think about the pick?
I like him. I like Micah Williams. I mean, you could, like Chris said, you could have went Mike Green from Marshall, James Pierce from Tennessee, and probably helped you out with any of the picks. But I mean, I did have Mike Williams as a little bit better than them, so I think it's a good pick. I think it's a very good pick, actually.
Chris, you got one more pick, sir. Don't screw this up. Sam, what you think about this pick?
No, I like this pick. I mean, the edges were gonna fall at some point. Here comes the run, and no better team to kind of get it going with is a team that couldn't stop Jane Daniels, couldn't get home last year. That's why they went home in the playoffs. And again, Hutch went down. I think this is a team that just needs a little more talent on defense, and that's providing this.
Yeah, I agree. No, it's a good pick. Don't get me wrong, for sure, man. Pairing him up with Aiden Hutchinson, they really missed Aiden last year. Really, really, really missed him last year. If they would have had him, it might have been Eagles versus the Lions in that championship game, man. And it wasn't just Aiden, man. The whole defense was just like,
yeah. The Lions they kept getting in shootouts and like surviving by a miracle, and you just knew it wouldn't last. And
yeah, right, yeah. It was getting rough.
The amount of injuries they had on defense, and then to lose their best player was just too much for them to overcome.
Yeah, and they lost some early too. I think it was like week 1 or 2, which is crazy stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, good pick right there, Chris. I agree with Patrick saying that if Williams fell this far, I would be super surprised too. Another reason why I was just laughing, I was just like, man, that's crazy. Lions have a ton of talent on defense last year, but all injured. Yes, very, very true, Flip. Appreciate you being on. All right, let's get to our next pick, which is the Commanders, I believe. Yes. And that would be picked by Ray. And Ray, that is your last pick of the draft. Who you taking?
That's difficult too, man. You know what? I'm taking Luther Burden from Missouri, wide receiver from Missouri.
Yes!
You all right, man?
Yes, I am all right. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
You don't have any women with you right now, do you? Okay, all right. Wanted to make sure, dude. You're a little excited there.
I don't like the Commanders right now, but I listen. Luther Burden, really good player. I think it would be really good to pair him with Jaden, but like they need a pass rusher, man. They need a pass rusher, and I'm glad you skipped out on the pass rusher there. But I'm gonna let you cook. Why Luther Burden here instead of a pass rusher?
Talking to me?
Yes, sir.
Because there's pass rushers I can get. I think Burden is a guy who can come in there and help them score points. You got to score points in this league, man, and they don't score enough points in Washington. So,
Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite wide receiver prospects in the entire draft, but I don't know if it's necessarily a top need for Washington. I think Jane Daniels was so good last year that he kind of covered up a lot of problems that team still has. And I do see a little bit of a downfall in year 2 just because it happens to everyone. It happened to Stroud last year, that tape that everyone gets after the first year. There's going to be a little bit of a struggle there. Again, the division's getting better. The Giants can't be worse possibly than last year. Dallas can't be worse. Like it really can't be any worse, Chris. So I think this would be a scary pick, though. I would not like it as a divisional fan there.
I'm gonna let Chris go first before I say anything. Go ahead, Chris.
Kingsbury week 1 will get a lot of mileage out of him. That being said, they really need a pass rusher. If you're trying to tell me that you're if we're going into FedEx Field and Clinton Farrell and Dorrance Armstrong is your edge rushers, then I'm not sweating Washington at all, especially on the defense side of the ball. And if they were going to make any sort of pick on the offensive side of the ball, I would have gone running back, Travion Henderson,
There it is.
because
There it is.
I like Brian Robinson, but Brian Robinson is just a battering ram. Austin Eckler is. I don't think Austin Eckler has any more mileage left in this league. Henderson provides a much more dynamic versatility for Washington, for what Washington could do offensively. But Burton's a really good player. Cliff Kingsbury is also very innovative in this play calling. He was very essential into helping Jaden Daniels. Had one of the better rookie campaigns that we've ever seen from a rookie in NFL history. So I can't hate on this pick too much.
I totally agree with Chris, 100%, and that's why I was happy they picked a wide receiver. Because in my mind, if you are going to go offensive, and if you look at that game with the Eagles, it wasn't that they couldn't pass the ball; they couldn't run nothing. They couldn't literally run nothing. It was bad. So if I was the commander, I would be looking at a running back more than a wide receiver. Now, don't get me wrong, having Luther Burton and Debo Samuels a little and Scary Terry, that's going to be a little scary. I'm not going to lie with the passing game.
The reason why they stopped the run game is because they didn't let the quarterback get out of the pocket at all. Because they had no one to throw the ball to.
I don't.
Terry McLaurin's a very good football player, dude, but he needs time to get open.
I give you that.
I mean, they did make a big fuss and traded for Debo Samuel. You still have Zach Ertz as one of the better security blankets in football.
Zach Ertz is a fossil, man. Okay.
Hey, the man still finds a way to get open outside the numbers. So
almost as old as I am, I think.
Right. Oh man, that's funny. But
hey, he got open plenty of times last year, and more importantly, you still got Luke McCaffrey, who you also drafted last year as well. I'm not sure how much.
I like Luke McCaffrey as a slot guy. Yeah, man, I think Luther Burden is better than people think he is, man. I think he's a playmaker. He can help me out in my kick game. I thought about going edge rusher. That would have been the one position I would have went. I like Travion Henderson too, but again, and he can actually help you with the return game too. I could have went there.
And I agree with Flip is saying right here too. Their offensive line is not that good as well. They do have a mobile quarterback that can, get out the pocket and get those fourth downs and stuff like that.
The Eagles played him perfectly, man. They kept him in the pocket. They gave him no quick, easy throws. You get Burden in there, you get McCaffrey in there, you get the ball out of his hands a little bit quicker, and you watch him run lanes will open up a little bit easier too. So,
okay. Well, I give you that. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not. I don't think it's a bad pick. I just don't think it's a good pick for them right now. You know what I'm saying?
I thought Booker was there too.
Yeah. All right, Sam, you are on the clock with the Buffalo Bills. Your last pick of the night. Who you taking, sir?
They need another edge. They need some more pass rush. I'm going to take James Pierce here from Tennessee. Long overdue.
Kind of wanted him.
I think this will definitely help Buffalo. And the amount of receivers that I like that are kind of falling towards that second round, I think they're going to have a shot at taking someone that has wide receiver one upside in the second round with the way this board's looking. So I think this gives them, a really good shot to have a really effective draft. And let's be real, this Buffalo team is just a player or two away from a Super Bowl. Like, that's all they are. And if they're able to knock it out of the park on some of these picks, and if edge rushers fall like this, that's how they're going to be able to get over the hump and, finally do it. I mean, it's crazy to watch them just fail in the same spot year after year. They got it. It's gotta happen at some point, right?
I agree. Pierce was a higher pick for me. I've been high on Pierce all year. I know they said that he has some off the field concerns. It was some kind of ticket or something like that, which wasn't that bad. They also said that his motor wasn't that great, but
It's the Eagles D line rack up in UGA.
yo, that's crazy.
Don't
Um, that, but I would love to see him. We'll we'll see how good Pierce will be off the field issues and limited playing time. Yeah, exactly what I'm saying there. He's very productive. I think if you can get somebody or get a team that can really hone into him and kind of make sure that he stays on a straight path, I think he'd be a good player. Like I said, I had him top 15 at one point. He actually fallen a lot during this draft because of those issues and situations. So we'll definitely see. Chris, what do you think about this pick?
Buffalo needs all the help they can get on the defense side of the ball, especially in the pass rusher. The main reason why they have gone home nearly every single year is because they can't get home to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So Pierce will fit in perfectly in terms of what they need to do. Listen, we all seen what Josh Allen did, MVP campaign, James Cook, being able to run the football. To me, it just comes down to you just need just that one playmaker on that defensive side of the ball to alter a game. And I think Pierce has the potential to do that for Buffalo.
I would have loved having that speed with Pierce and Marcus. I mean, not Marcus Smith. Jesus Christ. Nolan Smith off the edge. We're not talking Marcus Smith, man. Ray, what do you think about this pick?
Who, me?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I like the pick. There's a lot of talk about James Cook leaving Buffalo. I would have thought about taking TreVeyon Henderson right here.
Solid pick. Solid pick. Okay. 3 running backs in the first round is wild, though. I'm not gonna lie, that is wild.
Again, they don't want to pay James Cook. They may wind up trading him on draft day.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. All right. Let's get to the next pick. My last pick of the night, which would be the Chiefs. And I'm finally gonna take my Michigan man. I'm taking Kenneth Grant right here. I would hate to see this, but man, pairing him with Mike and pairing them up, and Mike won't be there too long as a D tackle, so we'll definitely see like him come in. He can kind of learn from him and be really, really good player. Chris, what you think about this? You muted.
Mike's off again. Solid pick, but can't say that I have to agree. Like the Chiefs have glaring needs in the offensive side of the ball, particularly in the tackle spot, which ultimately it didn't kill them in the AFC, like normally any other team would, but it definitely killed them in the Super Bowl. So you still have your pick of the litter for like an offensive lineman, especially for an outside tackle here. Yeah. So I think, especially with the way Andy Reid loves building in the trenches, I don't have any issues with Grant either.
Okay. Ray, what do you think?
No, I love Kenneth Grant. I think he's a good football player. I do agree with Chris in a way. I probably would have tried. Like, here's the problem: there's no wide receiver that I would take in this spot, but they can use some playmakers on this team. They look pedestrian against the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Agreed. Sam?
Yeah, I think wide receiver could work here too as well, but there really isn't anything that stands too out to me as well. But Kenneth Grant pairing him with Chris Jones, I mean, I don't know, man. This defense here would just they lost because they couldn't contain Barkley in the Super Bowl, and they just got ran over by the Eagles. So this would definitely help the Chiefs' defense and would be one scary pick. Grant probably won't fall this far, in my opinion, but I guess you never know.
I don't think he will either. I just think that, again, you need this. Kansas City needs playmakers on offense, man. They looked like garbage in the Super Bowl. And And people say, well, they couldn't protect the quarterback. They couldn't because the Eagles defense knew exactly what they were going to do because they were so far behind from the beginning. So,
But you gotta remember, they was not good on defense either, though, right?
they were not
They
good
had
on defense, but I mean, they're not. I mean,
Their
like
offense
again,
was so horrific that game. Their defense had no shot, really. You know what I mean? Like the pick six. There's some of these things are not controllable on the defensive side.
That's true.
All.
No, you're right. You're right.
The Eagles manhandled them. I was in Florida during the Super Bowl with my brother, who is a Cowboys fan. Sorry about that, guys. He literally was like screaming and yelling at me because he kept saying, "Well, who do you think is going to win the game?" I'm like, "I think the Eagles are going to win the game." He's like, "I think the Eagles are better at every position except quarterback."
Very true.
That's it. And it was pretty much like I would never go to Florida with him again. I'll leave it like that because especially not during Super Bowl week. It was.
Shout to your boy Mike.
he drove me crazy because every time I told him, I said, "Dude, I think the Eagles are going to win the game." He's like, "Nah." I'm like, "Okay, dude." And then by the middle of the second quarter, he's like, "Let's go home." I'm like, "Dude, I am sitting here with all these beautiful women at the Super Bowl, and I'm going home. Good night, dude. I'll talk to you later." Okay.
Let's go, Ray.
Yeah. Good luck with that, brother.
See, that's why he got the beard. You know what I mean? He grew out the beard.
I got the beard. That's why, man. That's exactly why. That's exactly why.
Oh man. All right. Let's get to our last and final pick. Mr. Chris Thomas, bring us home with the National Football League champions.
Oh my God.
Philadelphia Eagles. He said, "Tell him, right?"
Sure. All right, Jerome, you gotta have to bear with me on this one.
Oh no, don't do this. Go ahead. Oh, I think I know who you're gonna pick too. I'm looking at somebody else too, but go ahead.
Normally, I think this would be a perfect opportunity for the Eagles to trade back. There's also, rumors about potentially trading Dallas Goedert too, in this draft, to, kind of get off that 10 or $11 million salary as well. Okay. But with the 32nd overall pick, and you still have 20 draft picks, going within like these next two drafts as well, this to me is an opportunity, especially with the way this draft is going, to potentially redshirt somebody this year.
Oh, you're gonna give me a headache.
So with the last pick of the NFL draft, the Philadelphia Eagles will select Josh Simmons from Ohio State.
I don't hate it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate it.
Before he got hurt, he was looking like the best left tackle in the country.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate it.
Shout out to Donovan Jackson, coming in relief, shoring up that left tackle position all the way to the national championship. But this is perfect. He can play left side, and more importantly, he can also have fluidity to play right side as well. So you have the opportunity, get him in the Stoutland U, and you finally got yourself a guy that can replace Lane Johnson long term. Pure robbery again. But listen.
Okay, so this is my thing. I don't hate it at all. Actually, this would be insane if the Eagles would be able to get him. But we lost a lot on that D line, and there's so many defensive linemen right now. And I hear you. He's probably the best player in the trenches right now. Actually, he is the best player in the trenches right now. But what helped us last year was our edge rushers. I mean, our defense, and we lost a lot on that defense. And we put so much stock on the offense already, and we literally just signed the offensive lineman. Literally just signed the offensive lineman today. So
yeah, but also think about it like this: it's on the course as well. Jason Peters was getting old. You bring in Jordan Mailata in. Mailata was able to fortify the offense, that left tackle spot. Got a contract extension. Cam Jurgens is here long term. Landon Dickerson is here long term. Right tackle, we'll see if Kenyon Green is able to be salvageable. If not, then I'm sure they'll get somebody in the mid rounds. But I know this. I know Philadelphia. I know Howie Roseman, and I know that if Josh Simmons is sitting at 32, he's thinking about it.
I
Lane
feel
Johnson
you.
already said that he has another
I
year or two
feel
left.
you. I
And
feel
also,
you.
I think everybody's underplaying the safety position. I can agree with, but I think everyone's really underplaying like the depth that we have on the defensive line. We still have Ojamo. We still have Nolan Smith. We brought in a bunch of guys on 1-year deals as well. Elijah Ojulari as well. If Ojulari works out, then that's another guy that we could possibly give like another 2-year extension to
like
as well.
Chris, Sam.
And more importantly,
it's gonna have
it's
15
a
sacks.
draft as well.
Yeah. 15 sacks.
More importantly, it's a deep draft for defensive linemen as well. So this, to me, you can get Josh Simmons at 32, and you still have plenty enough draft capital. And Howie is savvy enough that he can move mid-draft to get himself either a safety or someone to help with that defensive line. But if you have a guy like either like a Simmons, right, that's sitting right there at 32, who I thought was going to go to Kansas City, then you can't pass that up.
Right. I'm gonna let you go in like 2 seconds. I just have to say this because, again, Chris, the logic of this is so good, but I just can't get out of my head that freaking Mike Green is still on the board right now, and we're not gonna take him. As much as we love our rotating our defensive line, and I've seen Mike Green at the Senior Bowl. He looked very impressive. That actually, you know what? You want to hear what's funny? People was at the Senior Bowl saying if the Eagles get Mike Green or get Darius Alexander at the end of the first round, they would be sick. That was the two names that everybody was saying. Watch the Eagles get one of them somehow, and he's right there. I mean, and I'm looking at what's this? This is PFF. PFF got him the 10th ranked player in the draft. I'm just like, so, and I get it. Like Simmons, which they have Simmons at the 18th ranked, and I don't go by their rankings completely, but man, Mike Green, it's hard. It's hard, Chris. I applaud you for the logic in it. It's great. It makes sense. But oh man, that I would love either way. I would love it either way. I would love it either way. I know you're a Ohio State guy. Ray, what do you think about the pick?
I think it's a good pick. I think Chris is using his brain, and that's a good thing. But I could see them going Mike Green here too. I mean, I could see it. I mean, either way. I mean, this is why when you're the Eagles, when you're Baltimore, you can just take the best player available because your roster's good, so you're good to go.
I agree. Sam, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I don't think the Eagles could ever go wrong with an offensive line pick. Like, it's just like it's just gonna hit. And yeah, unfortunately, this just continues to build upon what they're best at and continues to replenish too. There's no period where people retire and there's no youngsters ready to just come right in, and that's what makes the Eagles so good. Is that I think their vets do a really good job of kind of not just helping the younger players transition into bigger roles in the team. And you see year after year so many guys on that team develop and turn into guys. And, I love the pick. I think the pick will work here too. There's tons of edges still left, but they'll find a way to trade up and get one, like Chris said. Simmons is a good move here.
One more quick argument for you, Chris. First, I want to go back to what you said. Mailata was a 7th round pick. He wasn't a guy that you just had in the wings. He was a developmental guy. So you didn't really know what you was getting with Mailata. So I'm not gonna say that we had Mailata to replace what's his name?
Jason Peters.
Jason Peters, thank you.
Yeah.
But I will say this also. How many 1st round picks do we got on our offensive line?
Lane Johnson, that's it.
Exactly. Who's our offensive line coach?
Jeff Stoutland.
Exactly. So that would be my only argument with that. That would be literally my only argument.
Last year would have been 2 though with Becton, no.
Well, yeah. Last year we did have Becton, but
and
you get what I'm saying. But
Jurgens was like 30. What?
Yeah, Becton was
a top 7 pick, and I think Jurgens was round 2. No, high round 2.
Yeah, Jurgens was round 2.
Everybody else is round 2. Yeah. So. Yep.
It'll be a fun one.
Yep. Maybe Kenyon Green. We'll see about that.
Yeah,
but
in the end, I love the depth that especially on the defensive line in this draft. So it helped me be more confident in terms of making this pick. Like Josh Simmons, if he stayed healthy, I think he would have been in the top 10. So the fact that he was able to fall all the way down to 32, I'm just like, this got me thinking. And not to mention, you also have, plenty of other versatile, guys here. You have Tyler Booker from Alabama. Donovan Jackson shows he also has the ability to play multiple positions as well. So I'm just saying, I know defensive line is a glaring need, but I'm just saying if the Eagles go offensive line on Thursday at number 32, don't be shocked.
I don't hate it. Don't get me wrong, my brother. I don't hate it. If I seen that, I'll be happy. I'll be running around my house too. Don't get me wrong. It just seeing my greasy right now is killing me. Oh man. But that's gonna do it for us today, guys. That is the entire draft. If you have not seen it, go back and watch this. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, so you can see all the great stuff that we have going on there as well. We got players that we interviewed at the Senior Bowl that we actually drafted tonight or haven't drafted. I'm surprised nobody said Trey Amos. I've been hearing he's going to be a first-round pick now. I've been hearing a lot of buzz with that. I don't know how true that's going to be. I like the guy. I actually interviewed him at the Senior Bowl, so we'll definitely see. But real quick before we get off, guys, any players that shocked you that did not get drafted? I'll say Mike Green. That would be number 1 there.
Mike Green, and I think we should just explain the Shedeur thing, where it's just tough for us without any trades to really accurately put him in this mock draft. And that spot in Pittsburgh, obviously, I think there's a good chance that they're interested too. But that was just my gut instinct on their preference at quarterback.
I like Derek Harmon, defensive tackle from Oregon.
Yeah. Yep, he's another one.
Yeah.
What about
Tyler
you, Chris?
Booker, offensive lineman from Alabama. I don't know if I don't really have first-round grades on them, but I have early second-round grades on them, and usually those guys would go late first round.
And I just wanted to make one small point. I don't think he's a first-round talent, but the NFL did invite Jalen Miller to the draft. So, whatever you want to make about that.
It's one of those quarterback, or somebody reached back, somebody trade the Eagles at that 32 spot to get him as a project guy. And yeah, I understand. I understand why they would
believe me, Jerome. I know how underdeveloped this guy is. He knows he needs so much work. But him running the football is a different thing. He's still different with the ball in his hand. And I think what people were saying about Lamar when he was coming out was just as bad. He's a receiver. What's he do? That was the consensus. So, if there's a place where he's going to actually have a true year to learn, I don't hate it. That's all I'm saying. A true year, you have a real starter, you have a Seattle, you have a Geno, something along those lines where you have a true bridge. I think makes sense for Milroe. That makes sense to you guys.
100%. Benjamin Morrison is another guy that been getting some first-round grades on him as well. He got injured. Ray knows all about him. Really good corner, man. What's your thoughts on him, Ray?
I think he's an excellent player, dude. He struggled last year because he was hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's going to cause him to fall a little bit. But whoever gets him is going to get a guy who he has you can't teach a guy who has a nose for the football. He has a nose for the football.
100%.
He gets a lot of turnovers, man. So
Did we draft? I don't think we drafted Harmon either. No, right?
no, did not.
No.
Nope.
Yep. He's not a first round pick either.
Here's a question for you guys. I don't know if I should ask you while we're doing this draft. Who's a better player? And Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson now?
I knew it was coming. I knew it. Oh,
All I'm
man.
gonna say is I'm glad I have Jalen Hurts.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's hard. I'll be completely honest and blunt with this. There's a difference between the talent between the two. I'll be real. I think Lamar Jackson is more talented, but I'll say Jalen Hurts is more smart, and that gets him a lot of places. And he's very humble and quiet about it. So he's more clutch. It'll give him the more clutch gene with having those traits because I know you don't like the clutch gene stuff, right? But it does.
I don't.
I know you don't. But
I think it's funny.
I think he is more clutch because of the fact that he's a smarter quarterback. He'll he knows when to run. He knows when to throw.
He's brilliant. Yeah, he's smart. He's smart.
Yeah. So I think that's
really smart. It's hard to be dumb when you have wide receivers all over the field wide open. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I give you that. But it's also like Jalen Hurts. I mean, he had an issue with that early in last season, and then he kind of got rid of turn over the ball and stuff like that. Outside of last season, he really rarely turned the ball over.
I like Jalen Hurts. I just think it's funny that people have been killing me for 3 years that Lamar Jackson's a top 2 quarterback in the league, and now he's not better than Jalen Hurts. Are we serious about this now? Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
I think what y'all guys said.
A true argument and statement about this is both would be Super Bowl winning quarterbacks on the Eagles. So
I get that out.
You put Joe Burrow on the Eagles, they may not lose a game for 3 seasons in a row, dude.
You could put Geno Smith on that roster last year.
Whoa!
I'm not disagreeing with it.
NFC title game? That team's loaded.
Whoa!
You mean the same Geno Smith that Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and Jackson Smith and Jigba and still couldn't make the postseason? Not to mention Geno was the worst red zone quarterback in football last year.
Yeah, but he had nothing up front. We talked about how bad the Seahawks O-line was on this show. I mean,
this is what makes me laugh.
You get Jalen Hurts and it back like football quarterback.
Sam, we wouldn't have this argument if the Giants did what they're supposed to do. We wouldn't have a stacked team if the Giants did what they're supposed to do. I don't want to hear nothing from you.
You got 2 rings. You still got work to do to catch the division. You got 2. That NFL championship don't count to us.
All I want is this. I want an apology from everybody who killed me over my criticism of Lamar Jackson for the last 3 years. Okay, I want apologies from them all. Okay,
you're not wrong.
Because now, if we're talking about Jalen Hurts is better than him, then he's not even a top 5 quarterback. Okay, all right.
I mean,
remember last year when I was talking about Lamar Jackson with LaMarcus, dude, and he looked at me like I was from Mars, dude. Remember? Yeah.
But to steer the conversation back on the road, my picks. I think Travion Henderson is a first-round running back. If the team is definitely gonna be like in the bottom 5 in the back half of the NFL draft, who needs a running back, Henderson is definitely an amazing all-purpose guy. Also Donovan Jackson as well, former 5-star recruit. He's like I said, he showed versatility last year. He was one of the better guards in the nation. Simmons gets hurt. He then goes and plays offense left tackle for the rest of the season. Does a very good job there as well. So, that offensive line versatility is very attractive to a lot of teams as well.
I agree with what Chris just said. I think Donovan Jackson could very easily be like an end of the first round type of player.
Yeah, man. So
Could be an eagle also.
What's that?
So it could be an eagle too.
It could be an eagle. EAG.
LES.
Finish it.
I think it's funny.
Oh man, but
God,
appreciate you guys, man. It was a great time spending
funny.
almost 3 hours with y'all with this draft, man. We look forward to seeing how the draft actually go. Hopefully we do a live draft. Maybe me and Sam will come on here. I'm trying to see what my schedule like on Thursday. Maybe me and Sam or me and Chris or whoever we could jump on here and explain some of the picks and see our live reactions. We'll let you guys know if we actually do that. But again, please check out Inside the Hashes. Hit that QR code right over there where you can find all our socials. If you definitely enjoyed this, you will definitely enjoy a lot of our content. We interview drafted players, kids that are coming out of high school, college players, things like that as well. So please keep an eye out on all Inside the Hashes material. Once again, thank you for Chris, Sam, and Ray for being on here. Before we get off, I want you guys to shout out your socials real quick and what you got going on. I'll start with Chris.
All right. Well, my socials is Chris_Thomas23. I do a radio show here in Philadelphia every Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. It's called the Uptown Sports Show, Sports for the Culture. We talk about sports. So like we have a show tomorrow. We're going to be talking NBA playoffs. The draft is on Thursday. I'm going to give my thoughts about what the Eagles should do with the 32nd pick. Landing spots for Shedeur Sanders as well. So yeah, give me a follow and check us out.
Sam.
Yeah, it goes for me too. My Twitter underscores Sam_Kirk013. I'm currently writing stuff for SB Nation on on a website called Big Blue View. So Giants fans out there looking for content, draft related content, in season content, head there, look for my stuff. You'll be able to find a ton of stuff on my Twitter page as well. Yeah, man, this was a pleasure, a blast. Always to hop on with you guys and talk draft. It's been a great time. Always mocking it up here with Inside the Hashes.
100%. I can't leave out my boy Ray. What you got, man?
Ray, Jerome, I really don't do too much on Twitter anymore. It's kind of just a place where people take shots at me. So I don't really do it. And I like since my wife got sick, I really don't have a lot of time for it. I mean, I enjoy talking back and forth with you guys, and I enjoy doing this. And I do need to start doing our podcast again and get back on board with everything, but I don't really socialize with too many people outside of like Notre Dame fans. So
100%.
I just
it's
think
crazy.
that God.
No, I was gonna say it's crazy that me and Ray had such a good rapport. Me being a Michigan fan and you a Notre Dame fan, but me and Ray work so well off to each other, and we have the RPO College Football Podcast. Hopefully, we can bring that back again this season. I know me and Ray had to take a little hiatus from that, but hopefully, we could get back to that eventually for you guys. But go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, no, well, of course, I enjoy talking about football, no matter who I'm talking about it with. Sometimes I feel like this whole concept of quarterbacks being like great because they won a Super Bowl is just ridiculous, dude. Okay, like it really is a joke. Teams win championships, man, not just quarterbacks. Okay, just say that. It's just it's almost embarrassing.
Don't nod your head, Sam.
It's embarrassing, dude. It really is embarrassing. It really is. Like I asked to say, guys at work, the same thing. Is Jalen Hurts a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson now? And they actually had to think about it, which means wow.
So Sam, I'll say this to you, Sam. We can relate to this because now I'm feeling how you feel about Eli when he won his Super Bowls. Now I understand how y'all feel when now Jalen Hurts won his Super Bowl. Everybody want to kind of hate on him. I feel you.
I don't hate on Jalen Hurts. He's a good football player. But if you're telling me he's better than Lamar Jackson now, then what are we talking about?
Hey, listen, Ray, don't you get on Lamar for underperforming in the playoffs?
I do, but his team underperforms. even though he played really bad, and you know, Jerome, you know what's funny? I'm defending Lamar Jackson now. Is that not hysterical? Is that not hysterical, dude?
That's
Like, what are you
hilarious.
talking about?
Hilarious.
I'm defending Lamar Jackson. Wow. Talk about a
Full
360.
circle. Full
Like,
circle.
wow. Like, but if you watch him play, yes, he played really bad in the first quarter. But he also put his team in a chance, in position at the end to tie it up and with a chance to come back and win the game. Lamar Jackson is probably a top 5 athlete in the whole league. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I don't. But I think he's better than Jalen Hurts. Come on, what are we talking about now? Come on, really? Come on, man. I'm defending Lamar Jackson. I should go up on the roof and jump off, dude.
Funny. That's funny. Ray. It's the beard, Ray. It's the beard.
It is. It's a beard, man. It has my head's all unbalanced.
It changed your life, man.
Jalen Hurts beat the Chiefs.
That's funny.
Jalen Hurts beat the Chiefs.
Jalen Hurts beat the Chiefs.
No, the Eagles. That's the point. The Eagles beat the Chiefs, not Jalen Hurts. The Eagles. Let's say it again. EAGLES beat the Chiefs. Not. It wasn't like Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts and oh my God, the quarterback for the Chiefs,
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. It wasn't like they said, "Here, guys, here's some boxing gloves. Go out there and duke it out today." The Eagles beat the Chiefs, not Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts played a role.
All I'm saying is that there's one quarterback in NFL history that has led their team in passing and rushing in 2 Super Bowls. That's Jalen Hurts.
You're right, dude.
Also,
he is better than Joe Montana. You're exactly right, dude. Good deal. That's awesome stuff.
Hey, he got 3 more rings to go. It might be a conversation.
Oh my God, dude. That is hysterical. You know what, man? All due respect to everybody. If we're just going by who's better, Terry Bradshaw or Joe Montana?
Ray, there's been 3 Super Bowls, 2 of which that the Eagles have been in. Who's been the best quarterback in the last 3?
Donovan McNabb is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts, okay, dude? All right?
No.
Hands down the better quarterback than Jalen Hurts.
No, absolutely.
If Donovan McNabb played on this team, dude, they probably would not lose a game.
You mean, oh my God.
Come on, man.
I'm going to keep it PG. I'm going to keep it PG when it comes to me.
Dude, honestly, it's like, I feel like if we're just going to judge them on who wins Super Bowls, then what are we, 12-year-olds?
I'm just saying, Jalen Hurts beats Tampa Bay in 2002. So,
oh my God, dude, that's
well, we're gonna wrap this up right here, guys.
Yeah,
Thank y'all for being on because we're gonna be here
for
all
the next
night.
3 weeks with this conversation.
For real.
I feel like I'm back in romper room.
I'll see you on the group chat.
Thank you guys so much. We appreciate y'all for checking us out. I hope y'all have a good night. Get some sleep. See y'all on Thursday. Good luck to everybody's teams this Thursday, and we see you on the next one. Peace. Appreciate y'all.